Right, we're live. Welcome to episode 7 of the Pro Baduk Code Weiqi podcast. This is Xiao Dai, and again we have Mr.
Gaza.
Gaza. Um, so this is a massive week, so let's get into it. Let's start with the Hoban Cup. What's happening there, Gaza?
Yeah, so Hoban Cup, if you're not aware, is like the women's version of the Nongshim Cup. There are three countries: Japan, China, and Korea. They each have 5 players,
Yep,
and it is a win and continue format. So
yep,
two countries have a player face off.
yep,
Um, Whoever loses, that player is out of the tournament, and the third country brings in a player,
yep,
and they just keep playing until two countries are eliminated.
yep. Yeah, that's a really interesting format. That is it unique to Go, would you say? Have you heard about this in chess?
No, I haven't heard of this in chess.
Right.
I'm not sure if there are other sports that do this, but it definitely, I first heard about this format from the Nongshim Cup.
Right, right. Um, yes. Okay. So it is a very interesting format. We just went through some photos of the Hoban Cup. Now, Hoban Cup, of course, the game one was between Yiming of China and Nakamura Sumire of Japan.
So,
So,
so this is so in particular, I believe, of course, Nakamura Sumire is the youngest ever um, pro
in
in
Japan,
Japan.
yeah,
So she's obviously the youngest ever female pro in Japan, and I believe Wu Yiming is the youngest ever female pro in China.
right. I didn't know that.
Yes, I believe that is the case. Um, for in case people were wondering, the youngest ever female pro in Korea is Kim Cheayoung, who is not in the Korean team for the Hoban Cup.
No, she lost to Seohyun in the quarterfinals.
Now, I thought she lost to Heo Seohyun
Oh
in the
yes, sorry. Yeah, she lost to Heo Seohyun, which will
in the
meet.
qualifiers.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So,
Um,
yep,
but anyway, let's not worry about her.
yep,
These are two prodigies.
yep.
Wu Yiming is slightly older, um,
eh,
but it was they've had some history before, haven't they?
Yes, yes, they have. I think they played in some kind of invitational, like a best of three, and Wu Yiming beat Nakamura Sumire 2-0. That was a few years ago. I can't remember where it was. It might have been like a side event to the Wu Qingyuan Cup.
Yes, possibly. Yes,
Yes,
I don't. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure which event it was. I do know that Wu Yiming did have a 2-0 record against Sumire
yeah,
coming into this.
yep. So game one. How would you describe game one?
It it wasn't that dull a game. It
Yeah.
was it was it was certainly um, an interesting game.
Oops. Yep.
Um, I believe Pro Weiqi, the Reddit, does have a recap
Right.
video of the game. Um, I do remember Sumire had a bit of a problem with her blackstones on the left um, in the middle of the game, and Weiming, I think, was able to bully those stones around a bit, um, push against them, and then form a large area on the right that Sumire wasn't really able to invade successfully.
Right. Yeah. And really that really didn't end up so well for Sumire. So she ended up losing the game.
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't a boring game. I think Williaming made a bit of an error around in the first 20 moves
Yep.
in the top left. But she fought back, and like I said, she was able to bully Sumire's groups around a little bit.
Yeah. But it wasn't to be, so it's gonna become like 3-0 for Wu Yiming versus Sumire. and I just remember the game ended up being that Wu Yiming just made a really bad shape out of Nakamura's black stone, so ended up just this whole group had 0 eyes. Yeah, it was just like a black group running around in the middle of the board. So yeah, that was, and yeah, it just felt like Wu had superior fighting skills and superior reading, just won out in the end. So so that's game one. I think looking at the ratings, they're like 50-50, but I think Wu is definitely very underrated. And the reason is because even though her rating technically is around the 2700s, and for reference, your Choi Jong is around 3300, and your Shin Jin So it's been consistently about 3800. So 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 Wu Yiming is quite a bit lower rated than Choi Jong, but Wu in during the qualifiers for the Asian games, and the qualifiers also worked for Hoban. Wu Yiming actually beat Yu Ziying and beat Zhou Hongyu. She beat the top number 1 and number 2 in China. So and those two players definitely have a chance against Choi. So Wu Yiming definitely feels very underrated. So to me, it wasn't that unexpected that she beat Nakamura Sumire. And I don't feel like it was very close, even though it Nakamura did have some chances in the game, but I don't think it was that close of a game. But hey,
Yeah.
But okay, so that's game one, and then of course because Japan lost the first game, Korea comes next. Next comes Lee Suljoo, and
So Japan's now down to 4 players.
Yep.
Can you go back? Can you go back the pick with all the players?
Yeah.
So, can we try and identify these players? So on the left, at the very left, is that
Lee He? That's Lee He. So
Lee He.
That's Lee He. She's she probably in China she'll be considered the last gen.
Oh, okay. I think I know who they all are. So that's Lee He.
Yeah.
Then Yu Ziying.
Yep.
Lu Mingchuan.
Yep.
Zhou Hongyu.
Yep.
And is that Wang Qingxing?
It does look like it. She might be part of the Chinese national women's team, actually. But I thought Wang Qingxin wasn't in this group, because this group looks like the group that played in the Chuzhou national team prep. So yeah, I honestly don't know.
But I mean, obviously, there's the legendary Rui Nawe there as well.
That's right.
So,
and there's two.
And I don't think she's playing in the national team prep. So
no. But Ray, yeah. So that's. Oh no, Ray is playing in the national prep league.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, she is. There's a post about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that might be her, but it might be someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, but these two ladies with the back facing us, not really sure who it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of course, this guy over here is Wang Lei. He's a women's team national team coach. He's a head coach. I think technically there's another coach, Hu Yaoyu. So Hu and Wang were both international title finalists. They just missed out on winning an international title, so they're quite strong players in their own right. And I like Wang's commentating style on when he does the commentating on Chinese TV. So that's So that's everybody here. I honestly, this is a picture of Lee Suljoo. I honestly can't say I've heard too much about her, and she's also a one dan, if I'm not wrong.
She's a one dan. She turned pro last year.
Right. So that might be why. Yeah.
By far, her biggest accomplishment in her professional career is making this team.
Right.
So yeah, no surprise that you haven't heard of her. Definitely surprising that she made the team at all.
Right.
But maybe she does have potential.
Yep.
Although she's definitely the underdog.
Yeah.
Against Wu Yiming.
Yeah. And so let's move on to game 2. So what actually happened was that now what after she played Wu Yiming in the game 2, I looked at the game, and basically it wasn't again, I don't feel like it was a very close game because I think looking at Wu Yiming's win the AI charts of the win rates, Wu Yiming was probably never that far below 50, and
This
in
this
fact she was
game
always
was
above.
over by yeah. Sorry, this game. Yes, if you look at the AI, was definitely quite an uneventful game,
Yeah,
and it was over by like move 100.
right. And
Um,
and
they played like another 70 or 80 moves,
yeah,
but it didn't mean anything. And yeah, she didn't really have any difficulty in disposing of Lee Suljoo. It was kind of the game sort of went how everyone expected, I suppose.
yeah.
Um, I'm not really sure where Lee Suljoo went wrong, of course.
No,
Um,
no.
but I think maybe she didn't get much good play on the right side.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I watched the commentaries and look at the game, and like apparently some of the moves that she made, which kind of looked normal, was actually judged to be too slow by AI standards. So yeah, like for example, this move here, which I thought was quite normal for White to make to fix her shape. Apparently, this move here at this point is actually just too slow, which was the problem, like K4. Now, and I think the only interesting thing about this game was at at this point, White is Lee Suljoo. Apparently, she had a chance to make a Tetsuji to save these two white stones, and the Tetsuji is playing at this point. Oops, oh you can't. The edit mode is really bad, but it's just play here. Apparently, she can come out, but even if you did play this, she would just be barely back to 50-50. So it wasn't a very close game. So Lee just I don't think is strong enough to challenge Wu yet. So well, and Wu has been playing in the Chinese Women's JA League for she might have played like 3 years already. So she's like a seasoned pro, and Lee just made pro. So it's not
Yeah,
in terms of
this will
experience.
actually Lee Suljoo, literally right now she's playing her first ever game in the Korean Women's League.
Right.
Like as we record this podcast.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The Korean Women's League is ongoing at the moment. Yes. Okay. So
Yep.
that's game two. So Wu has 2 wins in a row now. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Of
So
her.
now Korea is also down to 4 players, and because um, China still have Wu Yiming, Japan has to bring in their second player,
Yeah. And
and that's going to be Suzuki Ayumi.
yeah, Suzuki Ayumi. I believe she's challenged for a couple of titles recently. So
Japanese domestic
yeah,
titles. Yes.
Japanese domestic title. So let's look at try. Let's see if we can find some pics of Suzuki Ayumi. Yes. So that's Suzuki. I wonder why they play with the mask on. Maybe just people there. Yeah. So that's Suzuki. Yeah.
I have to say, if you watch the coverage, most of the time they don't play with a mask.
Right.
It seems like for some reason they maybe
Oh.
there's some sort of regulation that they have to be photographed wearing a mask. I don't know,
Right. Or
but
maybe because when they're being photographed, there's actually the photographer, so they just wear a mask.
yeah, but it seems like the first 5 minutes or so they'll play with a mask and then they'll just play maskless for the rest of the game.
Right. Right. All right. So that's Suzuki Ayumi's game. Now Suzuki had a really great chance during the game, like she almost won against
Yeah,
Wu.
so this game was the most interesting one so far.
Yeah.
Suzuki Ayumi, she had a very strong position,
Yeah.
um, but the AI kept suggesting there was a Tsuji in the top right
Top right.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Um. While you're trying to find it, like I watched the commentary, and hopefully a recap of the game will come out. But what what was very interesting was that, like when I was watching the game, at some point I just felt like white is just got too many groups. Like also white's got one group here, and these two stones are cut off. That's another group, and then white decides to make another group, right? So even though white's got too many groups, so many groups here, actually white is actually leading now, provided that white makes can are able to kind of connect the groups together. So I look at some of the commentary. So now at this point, if white just play here to connect these two
Yeah,
groups
that
up,
was the Tsuji that the AI kept wanting white to play
yeah, and
underneath that black stone.
right, yeah,
Yeah, it kept wanting to play that, kept wanting Ayumi to play that spot for several moves, and
yeah,
I guess she just never saw it.
yeah. No, I think it's for good reason, because that move apparently is sente against this black group. Notice this black group is actually not like very alive. Like it's not 100% alive. So by clicking here, apparently it's sente allows these two white groups to connect. Then you have like one less group to worry about. But Suzuki played this move, which I believe it doesn't connect the two groups, but I believe she wants to later on just pull this stone out with this move, so she can like somehow come into this area. But and even then, like she should just still play here to connect the two groups. But it ended up, and she was leading for a lot, and then now she has to run with this group, create another group, and I think ultimately just with so many groups, and I think she just couldn't read it out. Like I watched the commentary. The commentary was saying how she just kind of like panicked and kind of didn't know where she wanted to play. She ended up capturing this black group, but actually, after these two stones got captured, these two groups are now like really really disconnected, because if you remember, there used to be a sente move here for white, just play here. Because these three stones were strong, white can actually push through. So if there's a sente move here, then these two groups have a better chance of being connected. But after capturing these stones, what ended up happening was black just played here to create another group. So white tries to live with all three groups, like this group, this group, this group. It just ended up being too much for white. So you see black's move to capture these stones. So because white never bothered to connect, eventually these stones were just lost, and this group still had to live. It just too busy. So ended up being that it just wasn't white's day, even though at some point Suzuki was really leading, and it was basically a fairly big reversal by Yiming. But I think it just panicked, created too many groups. So that was a very interesting game 3. Yes. So after Suzuki's
So that meant that Japan were now down to 3 players.
Yes. So, yeah. So,
and Korea had to bring in their second player, who was Heo Seohyun.
Yeah, Heo Seohyun, which is the picture that you're looking at here, this lady.
Yes, similar to Lee Suljoo, this is her first international tournament.
Right. And has the only other achievement I've heard about Heo is that she's apparently the captain of a Korean League's team.
She is the captain of a women's team, yes. And they played yesterday.
Right.
And her team won.
Right.
It's like Seoul Bukwang Pharmacy or something like that. That's the name of her team. She beat Kang Da-young, Kim Cheayoung's sister, last night.
Wow.
And her team won 2-1. So,
yeah.
She's I think she's just outside the top 10 in Korean women rankings. She has been in the top 10 in the past, but not at the moment.
Yeah. Now there were a couple of rumors that she's actually the girlfriend of Shin Jin-so, but apparently it's just that.
Those are definitely rumors. I've heard those as well. That Firstly, I don't really care, and secondly, they're probably just rumors.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, okay. So on to game four. So Yiming has now won 3 in a row, and after winning 3 games in a row, you're eligible for I believe bonuses. I believe it's 2 million won per game, starting from game 3, on top of your regular game fee. So yeah,
How much won per game?
I believe it's 2 million.
Okay, so that's in Australian dollars. That's about $2,000.
Yeah. So not huge, but decent. It's all right. Still pretty good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and you start getting that. I believe the game fee is 1.2 million won. So yeah. So basically, every time she wins now, she makes 320 million won, 3.2 million won, and after taxes, whatever, and she just gets that. That's a bonus. So if you can continue this for however many games, every game she wins now, it's basically additional 320, 3.2 million won for her. Yep. So so on to game 4 now. Yiming in this game played Heo, and this is again a huge reversal.
This one is the craziest game
Yeah.
so far. I'll spoil a little bit of the Hoban Cup games that have been played so far. This one's definitely the craziest. I'm probably going to need you to explain what happened in this game, Zoo.
Yeah. Well, I hope I can. Now I watched the pro commentary. Obviously, I'm not strong enough to explain exactly what's happened, but apparently, according to the pro commentary, what happened? You look at the game. It's actually Wu actually tenuki at really odd places. So when Heo takes the 3-3 point, this is
So
normal.
Wu Yiming's black.
Yeah, Wu Yiming's black. So when white plays here, normally black don't tenuki at this point, right? So black would turn or hane, but normally tenuki isn't really something that they do. But in this case, Wu decides to tenuki, and so Shio says, "Well, okay, you tenuki, I'm gonna just punish you." So now black turning or haneing are both gote. In fact, haneing probably doesn't work anymore, right? So I don't know, and I watched the commentary, and the commentary, the Chinese commentary says he's also not sure if it's like a part of his prep, part of her research. If it's part of her research, then it's a failure. And if it's if she just felt like playing it, then yeah, that's more understandable. So they didn't really like this position, nor does AI. But anyway, so Wu says, okay, you ignored my approach. I'm gonna try to attack you. So ended up doing this, and at this point, this is a ladder, right? So
Yes.
and Wu plays a ladder breaker, which then Heo says, "Nah, I'm just gonna finish that off." And I think the normal shape move is you kind of just connect under. That's kind of what you do, but because you played like a ladder breaker, and then you come back to here, then the ladder breaker doesn't make any sense. So because they respond to your ladder breaker, you kind of have to make use of your ladder breaker. So that's how Wu decides to do it. And I guess the embarrassing thing is, even after playing this move, the corner is still not dead. So, and it's just ko. So Heo can ignore.
Yeah, there's a lot of RG there.
Yeah, it's a lot of RG, but it can actually still be ignored. It's just a ko, because even if you lose the ko, you get to play 2 moves on the outside. So the corner doesn't look that big. So then instead of connecting under, Heo got this move, which means that black has to live. And what's more painful for black is once black starts the code here, white ended up using this corner as code threats. So this is just so good for white. So after this first battle, I think most people were just AI, and the commentary I saw just weren't really seeing it for
no,
for
white
black.
was definitely stronger.
Yeah.
at this point in the game.
Yeah.
So it required,
Yeah.
as all pros do when they're behind like this, it requires creating complications,
Yeah.
which
So
might lead to
yeah.
losses elsewhere in the board,
Yeah.
or
Now.
even having using RG that might be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and then afterwards, right? So, uh, I think I believe at this point in the game, Hugh spent a lot of time thinking about what her next move is, because I believe what's happened is this white group here doesn't have enough liberties against this black group
On the right.
on the right hand side, but
Yeah.
on the right hand side, this black group also isn't fully alive. So now I think it felt like reasonable for white to just play the tiger's mouth here to force some kind of capturing race between the two, knowing that white is probably going to lose the capturing race, but that's okay because white is thick on the outside and just limits black's potential, and so this is actually a winning position for white. But Hugh decided to that's not efficient enough. She wants to play more efficiently, so you just play here, so let black play here, and then she just decides to play elsewhere. This is actually very interesting. I can't really assess how bad that is to me, but apparently at this point the game is like back to 50-50, just these two exchanges.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, just from the AI,
Yeah.
instead of that last white move,
Yeah.
the AI wanted white to connect,
Right. Yeah.
and now it wants black to play there, so black to push,
Yeah.
and it wanted black and white to play at that spot
Right.
for like the next 20 or so moves.
Yeah. And yeah, basically, the commentary I saw was that black should come out here, and as black comes out, this group is dead. So white, but white doesn't just can't block. Like if black push, white blocks, black can cut, and that's just the position just too bad for white, just too terrible. So when black pushes here, white has to just turn and just sacrifice this group and try and attack this group. Apparently this black move here is worth like more than 30 points. That's like a huge amount of points. But hey, for whatever reason, neither player just wants to play here for many moves. So yeah, that's actually what ended up happening. Now I'll tell you like what
So,
actually
so white didn't play there.
no, it's for many moves like nothing happens. So
Yeah, so all of these moves, the AI is screaming at the players
yeah,
to play that move on the right,
yeah,
and they just didn't.
they just didn't want to do it, and so eventually white played this move, which was heavily criticized, even though this move kind of stops black's cutting points, because that kind of just helps black become stronger. But anyway, this is not the best part of the story. The best part of the story is kind of, I think throughout all of this, they said white is doing quite okay, until this move, this move. And I just remember the Chinese commentator. His name is Wang Haoyang. He's a very strong player. I believe Wang Haoyang beat Xin Jinzhou in one of the Emily Lee Cup or something, round of 64. He's a very strong player. He just couldn't stop laughing. He laughed hysterically during the commentary about this move. He was like, "What the hell is this move doing? Like it's just like doesn't achieve anything, doesn't gain any points." Blah, 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 blah. He just criticized his move so heavily. He said at minimum white should Hane here and not play this really safe move. So I guess if you play this kind of safe, I guess I can kind of see why Heo played this, because technically if you look at this white group, technically it's not fully alive and it's not fully connected. So this move is the most solid connection, right? Connects everything. So black can't disconnect anymore, but it's just so slow. This move by itself doesn't have many points in it, so that was very heavily criticized, and he just couldn't stop laughing. So at this point, actually, after these exchanges, black starts to pull ahead, according to AI, and black got this move, which apparently is a huge yosei. And the point
Right.
is, when black plays here, next move, if black capture these 2 stones, that's actually Sente. So black can actually capture 2 stones in Sente if black gets to move here. Because if you imagine black captures here, and if white doesn't respond, black can pull back these 2 stones. These 2 stones are now saved, can pull them back. But anyway, so that's why maybe Heo decided, I'm not going to let you play this in Sente. I'm not strong enough to judge whether this is a good move. Apparently, AI hated it. It was just like, this move is too slow. So yeah. But anyway, I think by this point, Heo is already losing. But I think the most comical thing about this game was when white played here. This move just completely doesn't work. And I just remember the commentator laughing hysterically about this move as well. It was like, this move is just like a huge misread. I guess what white is thinking is that this cut will be Sente, so black should respond, but actually black doesn't have to. Black just plays here, and all of these 3 stones are just captured. So that was the last losing move, and actually before this, white was already losing. So, but this move obviously didn't help, just letting all 3 get captured so cleanly. So,
Yeah. Yeah, something I want to point out just quickly is that all of these sorts of strange moves and the reversal happen during Byoyomi.
right,
So the time controls for these matches are 1 hour main time and then 1 60-second Byoyomi.
right,
So once they run out of their main time,
yeah,
they have to play every move in 60 seconds.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so yeah,
Mistakes happen.
it seemed like Heo Seohyun couldn't figure everything out
Yeah,
in the time that she had.
yeah, yeah. So that didn't really end well for Hugh, and
No, and so that meant that Korea are now down to 3 players.
yeah,
So Japan have 3 players left. Korea have 3 players left. China are still on their first player.
yep,
And so she's gonna play Japan's number 3 now,
yep.
who is
Xie
Xie
Yimin,
Yimin.
yep. And
That's right.
I just want to point it out. You see this AI graph where they just go seesawing up and down and down. I believe
Yes,
that's when they didn't play that move that we
that
discussed in the
that
beginning.
is that is
Yeah,
when they didn't play on
yeah,
that move on the right.
yeah.
Yeah,
But you can see, like, Wu
that's you'll
was
see
like,
those graphs in my games.
yeah, or my games for that matter. But yeah, but Wu was like down to 2% and then just powers back up. So yeah, that was quite
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it was a strong. It was definitely she didn't give up.
Yeah,
She has good fighting spirit,
yeah,
and yeah, it worked out
yeah.
for her.
And the commentators really liked her, liked the fact that she didn't give up, and she didn't seem to panic, and she managed to get 4 wins. So another she's got 2 bonuses now. The 3-win bonus and the 4-win bonus. So on to the next game where Wu has to take on Xie Yimin, and I actually before the game I just felt Wu will have surely are the favorites here against Xie.
Well, Xie Yimin, she does have the most women's titles in Japanese history,
Right.
but she's no longer the strongest. She doesn't hold any titles at the moment. She's no longer the strongest Japanese women player.
Mm.
Um, and she's never won an international title,
Right.
but she definitely has the experience, um, and yeah, I also despite all that, yes, I still felt that Wu Yiming was obviously in great form,
Yeah.
and I considered her to be the favorite for this game.
Yeah.
It was again an interesting game, and I think Wu Yiming did make a mistake on the right,
Yeah.
around about move 125 or something like that. I think
Yeah.
she tried an invasion on the right that the AI said didn't work.
Yeah. Um. So, I mean, it's a very interesting game, and in that, like, Xie Yiming's dragon in the middle, I mean, it's probably not going to die, but they were just fighting over this white dragon for a long time. Yeah, and there was some very interesting stuff here. Hopefully we'll see another recap. But at one point again, Wu was leading a lot. So I think at this point, when Black, which is Wu Yiming, played inside here, inside Xie's territory, like this attachment, I think that's like a signal that Black is a little bit behind.
Actually, I think Black was, according to the AI, I think Black was doing fine, but AI didn't like the point of the invasion. I
Right.
think they wanted it to sort of be a peep.
Right. Yeah. So maybe the direction is okay, but I didn't read. I haven't finished watching the commentary, but I believe what's happened is, if you look at this board right now, like, these two cutting stones is very important, because if these two cutting stones get saved, you see this black group here, there's some loose connections here. It's actually not 100% alive. So apparently around this point, there's a variation where white can pull out these stones, and that would actually put black into a lot of danger. Maybe not necessarily killing black, but profit a lot in the process. And I think that was when AI suggested Xie had the best chance in the game. But of course, given the short time controls and the fact that it's still a very complex position, it's really difficult to read it out, I believe. And ultimately,
Yes.
Wu kind of maybe saw something there, and she decides to kill it off. So normally, if white runs out, this black group is safe. This black group is also safe. This move sometimes isn't needed, but yeah, I think Wu saw something, probably what the AI saw, so decides to pull it out. But you can imagine, if this white stone got pulled out successfully, then yeah, this black group would be in some kind of trouble. But Xie maybe didn't see that, or she was trying to play some prep move to make sure that it's safe before she does it, and ended up losing the chance. So Wu was too good to let her have that chance. So it ended up being fairly dramatic at the end, because I believe what ended up happening was that White's dragon got killed. So let's see. So, oh no, this didn't die, but this whole thing here, you see here, this whole dragon. Oh no, this dragon didn't die because it can connect under. Can it connect under? Yeah, probably. Yeah, but but I think White is just behind too much to.
No, actually, no. I think a
game.
dragon. I think a dragon did die, because the AI says that Black is ahead by 40 points.
Right. So I'm
at
just
this
thinking,
point.
because obviously, if White's turn to move, White can connect under. I can't remember what it was. It was. No, that's. Oh no! Yeah, of course. See this. There's no eyes here. Yeah, this white dragon died. Yeah, now I remember. You see that's not an eye. That's actually not an eye. So that's only one eye. Yeah. So this white dragon died.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a big dragon there. So. Yeah, and white. If white had pulled these two stones out, white could have killed black's dragon. So it's a big reversal. So that's game 5, and Wu won this. So Wu is 5 for 5.
Yep, and now Japan are down to 2 players already.
2 players, and they are Fujisawa Rina and Ueno Asami.
Yep, they're 2 best players, of course.
Yep. And
but Korea now have to bring in their 3rd player,
which happens to be
Kim Cheayoung.
Kim Cheayoung. Yes.
So Kim Cheayoung is, she was the first ever Wu Qingwan Cup winner.
Yep.
So she does have a major title.
Yep.
A major international title.
Did she not beat Choi Jong in the final of that one?
Yes, in the Wu Qingwan Cup, yes, she did beat Choi Jong in the final.
Yeah.
She's the captain of the current champion Korean women's Baduk team.
Yep.
And I think she's just in the top 100 in Korea.
Right.
Korean rankings, like Korean rankings for everyone.
Yeah. How many women are there in the top 100 Korea?
At the moment, she's number 94. At the moment, there are 3 women.
Yeah.
And they happen to be the 3 women remaining on the Korean team.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, the Korean teams, their real competitiveness is just coming into the game right now in game 6.
But I will say, Wu Yiming, prior to this game, has a 1-0 record against Kim Cheayoung.
Right. I do remember watching the post-game interview of Wu Yiming. They ask her what she thinks about Kim, and Wu says, "Oh, she's a really strong big sister, but I'd like to play her." And Wu also said something that's very interesting in the post-game interview. I believe after game 4 or game 5, she said, "Oh, it's actually really tiring. I'm having a headache. It felt like to me that she's kind of like saying that, oh, I'm getting a bit tired, and if I lose the next game, that's
coming up with excuses in case you lose.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me.
I will say, if you do watch the videos, she does seem to be quite tired, and she's yawning throughout her games, even from like the 3rd game onwards. So this is already game 5. From the 3rd game, maybe even the 2nd game, she seemed to be like half asleep. But but I'm not sure if that was sort of a Zen mode or if she just wasn't getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
I just found out. So the one time that Wu Yiming did play Kim Cheayoung was in 2020, and it was the China Women's Jar League.
Right.
So that was in Chinese rules.
Yeah.
And Wu Yiming won by 1.5 points.
Oh wow! So she's won against Kim before.
Yeah, that's the only time they played before. I don't think Wu Yiming has all of the other games apart from Sumire. So the other 4 players that she played, it was the first time she's played them. The first time she's played Lee Suljoo, Suzuki Ayumi, Heo Seohyun, and Xie Yimin. I can't confirm that, but I think that was her first time playing those players.
Right.
But yeah, she has played Kim Cheayoung in the past, and she won.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I think Wu wouldn't have that many chances to play with the Japanese players or lower ranked Korean players.
No, she probably hasn't played in that many international events.
Yeah.
Or if any, like the Senko Cup and the Wuqing Cup.
Yeah.
And like I said, the one game she played against Korea was in the Women's Jar League. So that was when against Kim Cheayoung, sorry.
Yeah.
So that was when Kim Cheayoung participated in the Chinese Women's Jar League. There are only a couple of Korean players that do that.
And the point is, you have to be very strong to be invited to that Jar League. I guess they don't really want to.
Certainly, if you're not Chinese, yes.
Yes. You got to be like a top player to even get there. So there's some pictures of Wu just almost taking a nap, and I believe there's also a picture of her having her head in her hands during the game, and she's just like maybe just too tired.
Something else I noticed. It looked like even on her move, sometimes she just wasn't looking at the screen. She was just had her head in her hands as if she needed a rest. Yeah, I'm not sure if she's just not. If that's just something that if that's just how she plays games on the monitor, or if she's genuinely not getting enough sleep. But whatever it was, she was winning, so it didn't really matter. All these first 7 rounds of the Hoban Cup are all done on consecutive days. So she's had to play each game. She hasn't had a break.
Yeah.
And so this 6th game, as we're recording the podcast, this 6th game happened today. So this is the most recent game that's happened so far.
Yeah.
The one that we're going to
Yeah.
cover next, Yiming versus Kim Cheayoung.
So yeah, let's have a look at that game.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, I haven't had time to look at the Kifu that much. I think I just saw a little bit of the podcast, the live cast. Is there anything you wanted to say about that game?
Yeah, there is something that I wanted to say. So this was a couple of curiosities first.
Yeah.
This was, like, as we said, Yiming's sixth game. Her first game she was white, and the next 5 she's played black.
Yep.
Which I thought was curious.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Cheayoung is you would have to say is her toughest opponent so far.
Yep.
And she seemed to sort of gradually build an advantage. I can't really explain it myself, but it did get to a point where, like, she was basically bullying around Black's groups, similar to what Wu Yiming herself did against Sumire.
Right.
Got a very strong center, and then, by about, move 150 or so, the AI just said that, she was ahead by, I don't remember, maybe it was like 5 points or something like that. About 8 points.
Yeah.
So, and it was, I don't think there were any really massively major mistakes that Wu Yiming did, just small errors that built up.
Yeah.
And Kim Cheayoung just playing more accurate moves overall. But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was move 161.
Yeah.
So at this point, the AI says, the AI says white is easily ahead. You can just casually play at the 1-2 point.
Yeah.
Make that bottom right group alive.
Yeah.
And whatever Black tries to do elsewhere on the board,
yeah,
it's not good enough.
Okay. Yeah. So just live. That's it.
Yeah, just live. Live in Gote. Black doesn't have enough.
Right.
But Kim Cheayoung didn't. Well, again, this is obviously they're in Ayumi by this point. Kim Cheayoung didn't do that. I'm not sure if she felt that she couldn't afford to do that, but she played, on the left.
Yeah.
Which created a ko.
Yeah.
In the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really crazy because, like, because now, instead of that bottom right group being completely alive, it's now a co-fight.
Yeah. But
obviously,
yeah.
Obviously Kim Cheayoung thought that I think maybe the left hand side wasn't secure enough or something like that.
Right. And did AI suggest that this was not the right way to go about it, or because after playing this, did AI did Kim lose any points?
Yeah. So at about move 178.
Yeah.
It said that white was, well, my AI says that white's ahead by like 2.5 points.
Right.
But then that move there doesn't work.
Right.
Move 179. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what move does. I guess it's important that Black makes that bottom group alive.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm running Cardigo now. I think it says that at that point White's ahead by maybe 4.5 points actually.
Yeah, 4.5 points. Yeah, that's quite significant, I guess.
Yes, but then that move there, that changes the evaluation to 40 points.
Yeah. So I guess If you look
It,
at
it's
this,
definitely has to do with the status of this black group now.
yeah. So look at this black group here. It doesn't have two eyes, right? So just one eye, right in the middle.
Yeah, right.
So and when black jumped, this push after this push, you can see there's a throw.
Yeah, so instead of playing underneath,
Yeah.
what black can do is can play the Atari in the middle.
Tari.
There, yeah, there,
And then live.
yeah, and then live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so black didn't do that.
Yeah.
And
Because that's Gote. That would I guess maybe. Okay. So now.
but there's still but the thing is that there's still a ko in the bottom right.
Yep. Yep.
So you can live in Gote, but there's still that ko. So white still needs to win the ko.
Yeah. So
Again, the AI says that white's still ahead, but
yeah.
but that's the only thing black can do. Now, in this position, the black group is dead.
Yeah. So because this black lost is the Atari, so this is so if black play here, say for example white just pushed through here, white has to block and then white extends. Is that alive or just Seki? I guess it's not Seki. Because once all these
The problem is, I think also the problem is that black needs that group to live and win the ko.
Yeah, so that's just impossible. It's not. I don't think it's even Seki. I think it's just pure dead because it's
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't think it's a Seki.
Yeah, no, it's just dead. So yeah, black is dead. Also, there's a throw in here. Also, have to win this ko. So it's not happening for black. So
yeah, and that's precisely why at this point Wu Yiming resigned.
Yeah, so that stops Wu's streak at 5. Still a great effort because she's the first Chinese player.
It's an incredible effort because that like usually sometimes teams don't entire teams don't get 5 wins.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
And
I don't want to name names though.
Yeah, so Wu Yiming is out. So China finally lose a player.
Yep.
So now it's China with 4 players.
Yep.
Kim Cheayoung won, so she stays.
Yep.
So Korea have 3 players remaining, and Japan are down to 2 players, and one of them has to play tomorrow.
Yeah. So tomorrow, who's coming tomorrow for Japan?
So tomorrow it's going to be Fujisawa Arena.
Yep.
Which it's a bit of a surprise to me because she's undoubtedly the number 1 women's player in Japan.
Yep.
But Ueno Asami is currently the Senko Cup champion. She's the only Japanese woman to have won a women's major.
Yeah.
So perhaps, that's the reason why they're saving her till last.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fujisawa Arena is definitely it's definitely has a chance to go deep.
Yep.
Into this tournament. If she loses tomorrow, it would be a disaster for Japan.
Yeah. Because so for Fujisawa Arena, just look at the rating point. She would be ahead of Kim, and ahead of Lu Mingchen of China, and ahead of Li He of China. So, I mean, if these rating points are somewhat accurate, you would expect Fujisawa Arena to have a decent chance of beating these 3 players. Anything after, it's just a bonus. She wouldn't be expected to beat, for example, Oh Yujin or Zhou Hongyu of China or Yu Zhiying. Although she has a chance,
I would definitely give her a chance against Oh Yujin. Oh Yujin has definitely improved immensely over the last 12 months. So but the thing is, the last 12 months, I think she would have only played the Hoban Cup internationally. Right. Obviously, she would have played in the Women's Jar League, but I don't really recall her results.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely difficult to judge her against Oh Yujin, but definitely against players like Choi Jong, Zhou Hongyu, and Yu Zhiying, Fujisawa would be the underdog.
Yes.
I'm just quickly checking. Kim Cheayoung and Fujisawa Arena, They actually have a 1-1 record.
All right.
Kim Cheayoung beat her in the 2014 World Mind Games.
Right.
So that's like an international competition that includes amateur players. But that was like nearly 8 years ago. And they most recently played in 2019 in the Korean Women's League. So that was back when the Korean Women's League had foreign players, had imports.
Yep.
And on that occasion, Fujisawa Arena won.
Right. Yep.
So Fujisawa Arena did win their most recent matchup.
Yep.
But then again, so did Wu Yiming, and Kim Cheayoung beat her today.
Yep.
So it'll definitely be an interesting game.
So that will happen tomorrow. That will be the game 7. So final game of the first stage.
Yeah. So after tomorrow, there won't be Hoban Cup for a couple of months.
Yep. And
but yeah, regardless of who wins that, China, you have to consider China the favorites because they still have 4 players.
Yes, absolutely.
And all 4 of those players are quite strong.
Yes. So China definitely would be favorites now, but Korea with 3 players is not out of it yet. But Japan with 2 players are probably the least favorite out of the 3. But
yeah.
Fujisawa
Arena would have to produce something. She would have to go on a big win streak.
She would have to do a Iyama Yuta.
Oh yeah. Iyama Yuta, and then Ueno has to produce what she did in the Senko Cup.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see some of that happening. So that really concludes our coverage of the Hoban Cup. But I will just add two extra tidbits about the Hoban Cup. Now, Wu Yiming had won, because she had won 5 games in a row, according to the Chinese Weiqi Association's promotion rules, that will promote you 1 dan. So Wu Yiming jumped from 3 dan to 4 dan after the 5 wins. So Wu is now 4 dan. The other interesting news was that Hoban, apparently it's a Korean company. So I think their company is literally Hoban, like Roman characters, letters. So initially China and Japan had given them a name in Chinese and Japanese, called something like Hupan, and they objected to it. They actually wrote to the Chinese Weiqi Association and says, actually the proper way to write our name in Chinese should be Hupan instead of Hupan. So just the tone is different. So Korea and China both changed the names of the Hoban Cup to respect what the organizer wanted their company to be called in Chinese characters. So I thought that was quite interesting. Just having the correct other people who's using your name perhaps incorrectly. So that's it. So let's move on to the LG Cup.
LG Cup.
Cup.
Yes, so that was the international games that happened this week. Next week, specifically on Sunday, is the start of the LG Cup, one of the biggest international tournaments.
Yes, and of course this week the LG Cup draw have also come out, so we'll talk about the draw a bit later. So
yes.
But before we talk about draw, shall we just go through this LG Cup statistics and trivia post that we have here on
So I guess we can go over a couple of a few things about the LG Cup. So it started in 1996. And it's been held every year. It's been held without fail, no breaks.
Yes.
And the final is always held at the beginning of the next year. So the first LG Cup, the final was held in 1997, and the format has the sort of the calendar structure has not wavered. It's never changed. It's really the only. It's the most consistently organized world major,
along with the Samsung Cup.
the Samsung Cup is is also been held every year, but sometimes the calendar has been a little bit wonky, and
Right.
there have been occasions where two finals have been held in the same calendar year.
Right. I see.
But on average, it's always been held once a year.
Yeah.
The Samsung Cup was also held, initiated in 1996. So yeah, both of these tournaments, the LG Cup and the Samsung Cup, will have their 27th edition this year.
Yeah.
But the LG Cup, in terms of delays and changes in the schedule, it hasn't really ever had that, and I think that's unique among the world majors.
Yeah. And hopefully it doesn't get cancelled.
No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
The LG company is a very big company.
Yeah.
But yeah, it initially started as a 31 player competition actually.
Right.
Um, for some, yeah, I think like Korea's sort of well, Cho Hyun for some reason had a bye in that first tournament. I'm not sure if it was because he was Korea's like best player, or because he'd won the In Cup or something like that. I'm not really sure. But he got a bye. And then for the next 8 tournaments, it was reduced to 24 players.
Yep.
So similar to the Chunlan Cup,
Mm.
where 8 players got a bye to the second round.
I believe the In Cup also is like that.
Yes, I think so. You might be right.
Yep.
Then from the 10th edition in 2005, they took it to 32 players, so no buys anymore, and just 5 rounds.
Yep.
And they kept it 32 players for a long time until last year.
Yep.
Last year's tournament, they reduced it back down to 24.
Right.
And this year's tournament will also have 24.
Yep.
The final was originally so every round before the final was a single game elimination.
Yep.
The final was originally best of 5. That was only for the first 10 LG Cups, and then from the 11th tournament onwards, it was shortened to a best of 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, were the LG Cup semi-finals never a best of 3?
The semi-finals were never best of 3.
Right. Okay.
The semi-finals were always single game elimination.
Right.
And I think one of the other more interesting things about the structure of the tournament
Yep.
is that from the 10th edition in 2005, they introduced an integrated qualification system.
Right.
So what happened is, so for the 10th edition, there were 32. That was when they first had 32 players. 16 of those players were considered to be seeds.
Right.
So, and that was usually something like the 2 finalists of the previous LG Cup were given seeds, and then it was something like Korea would get 5, Japan would get 4, China would get 4, and Taiwan would get 1 seed.
Yep.
And I think that was basically up to the respective organizations to pick those players.
Right.
And then everyone else that wanted to participate in the LG Cup had to qualify.
Yeah.
And the unique thing is that the qualifiers didn't discriminate based on region. So you didn't play necessarily against other players of your region.
Right.
You could play against anyone.
Yeah.
So like a Korean player may have to beat a Chinese player to qualify for the LG Cup.
Yeah.
So so that was and that was interesting because then the distribution of countries in each LG Cup would change
Right.
across editions. So if for instance if China had a really deep level of talent, then there could be a lot of Chinese players qualify through the qualifiers, and then possibly have half of the LG Cup field being Chinese players.
Yeah.
I think I didn't mention this in the post, but I think during the period of the integrated qualifiers, no Japanese or Taiwanese players ever qualified through the integrated qualifiers.
Right.
So the only Japanese and Taiwanese players in the LG Cup were the ones that were awarded from the seeds.
Right.
The integrated qualifiers, they only stopped 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because of the coronavirus.
Yes. Right.
So before COVID, all of these integration qualifiers were played over the board. All games were played over the board.
Yeah.
Before coronavirus.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to do that 2 years ago. So they removed the integrated qualifier and instead distributed a set number of qualification spots across the country. So the interesting thing about that is that there are now no spots for players from, say, Europe or North America.
No.
So before that, for the first 10 editions, actually, Europe and America were awarded a spot.
Yeah.
And then from the 11th tournament onwards, they didn't get an automatic spot, but they could still try to qualify through the integrated qualifier.
Yeah.
But now, in the last 2 tournaments, they can't even do that. So it's technically not a fully open international tournament anymore.
Right.
But it's still considered a world major.
Yes, obviously.
And hopefully, when coronavirus sort of goes away or is no longer that big a deal anymore, the integrated qualifier will return.
Yeah.
Because it was very exciting, and I think it also did help the Korean and Japanese scene to understand, where they stood relative to each other.
Right.
But anyway, so currently the current format is that there are the 2 finalists from the previous LG Cup qualified directly, and then there are 11 players from Korea, 6 players from China, 3 players from Japan, and 1 player from Taiwan.
Yeah.
That makes up 31 players. The final spot is determined by the sponsor. It's a wild card.
Right.
And the sponsor wild card is always determined after the other 31 players have been figured out.
But I think you said 31, but it's actually 23, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. What am I saying? Yeah, because it's now a 24-player tournament. So, so the 24th player that's picked is a sponsor wildcard.
Yeah.
That sponsor wildcard was introduced 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it's always been a Korean because the sponsor is obviously a Korean company.
Yes.
So that technically makes it sort of 12 Koreans. If there were Koreans in the as finalists in the previous tournament, that would mean more than 12 Koreans.
Yeah.
In this case, because Shinjinso won the last LG Cup, that means that there are 13 Koreans in this tournament.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a makeup.
Also, this tournament's been going on so long that the first few editions of it was actually 5.5 Komi.
Yeah.
I think this was the first world major to introduce 6.5 Komi. I'm not sure about that.
I'm pretty sure it was the Koreans who introduced it first in either the Samsung or LG Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. Some other really interesting facts, and I think this one is going to be on the minds of a lot of people. it's it's had this has had the most editions, this World Major, 26,
Yeah.
same as the Samsung Cup.
Yeah.
Nobody has won it twice in a row.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be on a lot of people's minds because Shin Jin-so, of course, won the last LG Cup.
Yeah.
And he's currently the strongest player
By
in the
far.
world.
Yeah.
He hasn't lost to, a Chinese or a Japanese player now in almost, well, he hasn't lost to a Chinese player in almost a year now.
Yeah.
He hasn't lost to a Japanese player in like 8 years.
Yeah.
One wonders if this might be, sort of the breaking of the curse, if you call it that.
Well,
If Shin Jin-so might end up going back to back finally.
yes. Well, I mean, it's technically true that Shin Jin-so hasn't lost a game against a Chinese player, but only in official games. So Shin Jin-so obviously has lost in maybe some online competitions. Some of them are even big prize money competitions, but yeah,
That is true.
In an official game, Shin Jin-so still hasn't lost. So he still has a 24 game winning streak against the Chinese, which we'll talk about a little bit in the when we look at the draw. Some interesting stuff there happening. Now, so just
shall we have a look at the draw now?
yes.
Or?
Oh, well, before we go to the draw, let's have a look at this list here, which is quite interesting. So notice how the last three winners were all Korean. Right, so
Yes, that's right.
yeah, but but for a good while there, like there's a big chunk here where starting from 2009, it was Guli,
6 years in a row.
Kong Jie, Pao Wen Yao, Jiang Weijie, Xi Yue, To Jiaxi. They're all Chinese players, and of course like Park and then Kang took the next two, so kind of equalized a little bit, and then another three Chinese.
And yeah, interestingly enough, after those 6 years of Chinese winners, the next 2 years were all Korean finals.
Yes. So, but apparently, in 2015, when they were holding the LG Cup draw, or LG Cup opening banquet, or whatever it was, Chosun Daily, which supposedly is the partner who organizes the LG Cup as well. So I think the full name of LG Cup is like something like Chosun Daily LG Cup World Chiwan Championship or something. So Chosun Daily is one of the major participants in the LG Cup. Apparently, in the opening banquet, when they were asked to speak, the president of the Chosun Daily went on stage and got really angry. Apparently, he started saying, "How come we put time and effort, money into this tournament, but it's been won by the Chinese for the last 6 years? Which Korean is going to stand up? Something like that." So maybe that kind of worked. So the Koreans won the next two, but apparently he got really upset. So that was a little bit interesting tidbit that I got from a Chinese podcast. So hopefully we can find some coverage of that back then. But yeah, that was something very interesting.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Park Chun-won and Kang Dong-yoon, so they were the two winners after that Chinese streak of dominance, and they're both in this this year's LG Cup. Kang Dong-yoon was the wild card.
Yeah. And there's some other interesting stuff in this post as well. I really highly recommend people look through it. Another thing is that Japan hasn't won an international title in the last 15 or 16 years or so, but they came close in the LG Cup, didn't they? Back in
the
2018.
22nd LG Cup. So this was about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Iyama Yuta. I don't think I'm not sure if he'd. This obviously wasn't his first LG Cup.
Yeah.
But Iyama Yuta is notable in that he doesn't, because of the Japan domestic titles clashing often with international tournaments.
Yeah.
Or just the fact that they don't reschedule them. Yeah, Iyama notably doesn't participate in every tournament.
Yeah.
And this was actually his first LG Cup in 4 years.
Yeah.
And he made it all the way to the final.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly see what kind of players he beat. Obviously, he must have beaten.
I do remember he beat Kerje in the semi.
Is that right?
Yeah,
really?
I think so. I think it was a big reversal. but he did beat Koji.
Oh wow, yeah, he beat Lee Young-yu
Yeah.
in the first round. Then Zhou Ruyang,
Yep.
Yang Dingxing,
Yep.
who I think was a former. Was he a former LG Cup
No,
winner?
Yang Dingxing won the very next one.
Ah, right. And then he beat Koji
Yeah.
in the semi-finals. So
Yeah, so it's a good run.
yeah, he made the final. It's the first time. It could be the first time a Japanese player had made the final since Cho Yu
Won it.
Yeah, and that's not just for LG Cup. That's for all majors.
Yeah, all majors. Yes.
And yeah, but he did lose to Xuanhao.
Yes. 2-1, I believe, and Iyama had his chances too. So it was just maybe luck. But anyway, didn't exactly work out for Japan that time around.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I will say Xuanhao hasn't won an LG Cup game since winning that title.
Right, and he's been a bit middling in the Chinese Jar League as well. So, and he's still young, so I don't know what's happening.
He's still young, but
yeah.
Was he? Wait, was he the youngest LG Cup winner? Actually,
I think you said something along those lines in the.
Yeah. So yeah, he was only 19 when he won the LG Cup, and he was the youngest.
Right.
He's the youngest ever LG Cup champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, he's competed in only 2 LG Cups since then.
Yeah.
And he lost in the first round both times.
Yeah.
So he spent all. He at least he's won a title.
Well, it's not easy winning it.
It's not easy. I mean, there's a lot of top players that haven't done it yet. Koji hasn't done it. Cho Hyun didn't win the LG Cup.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
It's impressive just to win one, but yeah.
All right, so that's a bit of interesting info. But let's look at the draw now. The draw is out. So I as best I can, we'll try to maybe go through the draw as we go.
So just a quick reminder that it's a round of 24. So there are 24 players, 16 play in the first round, and there are 8 seeds.
Yeah. So the first column here would be your first round.
Yes. So the first 2 rounds are determined, are predetermined. So there'll be 2 players playing in the first round, and then whoever wins, their opponent is one of the seeds, and that opponent has already been determined.
Yes.
But beyond that, it's not known who would play who. So once the quarterfinalists are determined, they'll do a redraw. Yeah.
And I think that the redraw is on the principle that the players from the same country or the same region will not meet. But except they might meet in the round of 16, just because
they might meet in the round of 16. But yeah, if there's unless it can't be avoided, they don't have players from the same country meeting in the redraws.
Yes. So let's go through the draws. So the first one is Wang Songjin versus Wang Yuanjun of Taiwan.
Yeah, this one's interesting because Wang Songjin, as we've discussed in previous podcasts,
is on
a terrible run of form. He just had an absolutely dismal Korean League finals performance.
Yeah.
He didn't qualify for the Asian Games team either. He's not doing well. Wang Wanyun is the Taiwanese representative. Yeah. He's number 2 in Taiwan, but he did beat Zhu Hong to qualify. So this one's going to be an interesting one. Like Won Songjin is still a good player.
Top 10 in Korea.
But he's top 10 in Korea. I'm not sure if he's actually won a game since he qualified for the LG Cup, to be honest.
Yeah, no, he's on a 10-game losing streak. So
so maybe the last game he won was the game that he won to qualify for the LG Cup.
Oh, just might as well.
This one, so this one, I'm going to say that he won't win this. I'm actually going to pick Wang Wanjun for this, but it will be close.
Yes, will be close. I think, and the winner will face Shibano. Toramaru of Japan. So Japan's
Yes, so
only,
Shibano was one of the seeds
yeah, only
selected for
one.
Japan.
Yes, he's the only seed in round two, basically. Yeah, from
Well, yeah,
Japan.
so Japan had two seeds, but only one of them is
Yeah,
gets a bye.
yeah,
Shibano is top five in Japan,
yeah,
but as we've discussed before, Iyama is is not here.
yeah,
Ichiriki is not here.
yeah,
Suzuki is not here.
yeah,
Shibano might be the strongest Japanese player in this field.
yeah.
Um, I don't I don't think he's going to win the LG Cup.
Well, yeah, no, no.
But he might actually have a chance of making the quarterfinals.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so that's very interesting because based on the ratings, the prediction is that Shibano has a 46 chance of making it to the quarterfinals, and I think it's also the luck of the draw because yeah, you got Wang and Wang, so there's a good
Yeah, I
chance.
think this is one of his. This is a favorable draw for Shibano, and
Yeah,
I'm actually going to tip him to make it to the quarterfinals.
yeah. I mean that it really could happen. And remember, Shibano is fairly strong as well. He beat Shimin Jun in one of the Nongshim Cups, so he's definitely a strong player. So let's see what Shibano can do.
He's a strong player, but he seemed even stronger a couple 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, he was the youngest ever Meijin at 19. So
Yes, it seems like he's sort of stagnated in the last 12 to 18 months.
yeah,
He currently doesn't hold a major title in Korea.
yeah, no,
He might have the Ryusei at the moment. I'm not sure, but that's not a major title.
no, no. So he's titleless at the moment.
Yes.
Which was you know,
Oh,
Ichiriki's
actually,
position.
and I just remembered. Interestingly enough, Shibano and Won Song-jin did play the opening game of the most recent Nongshim Cup,
Right.
and that was
That
Won
was a
Song-jin completely destroyed
yeah.
Shibano in that game.
That was a complete disaster for Shibano. Like Won Song Jin, like had taken like a stone, like made four moves within Shibano's like Moyo. It's just like a four stone capturing one stone. Like it's really strong shape inside it. It was just terrible performance by Shibano.
Yeah,
can't believe it.
but that doesn't mean it will happen again.
No. So let's see
But
what happens.
now this next group here, this one's probably the most
Shimin-jin.
this one's my most anticipated.
Yeah. Well, okay. One of the possibilities isn't as anticipated as the other one, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is we're talking about the 26th LG Cup. The 25th LG Cup final.
Yeah.
But you do have, so let's just focus on the first round here. Shinmin Jun,
Yeah.
former LG Cup champion, versus Shiwei,
Yeah.
former LG Cup champion.
Yeah.
Shiwei is one of the more veteran players,
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
I mean, it's like 31, 32 kind of thing. Yeah.
But he has had a good run of form recently.
Yes.
In particular, he had to win more games than the other Chinese players to qualify for this LG Cup, I believe.
Correct. Yeah.
Shinmin Jun, though,
Yeah.
as inconsistent as he was last year,
Yeah.
he's been pretty strong this year. He qualified for the Asian Games team.
Yeah.
He had a fantastic Korea's strongest league.
Yeah.
So good, in fact, that he
He's
won the league.
Yeah, he won the league.
Yeah, he won the league and he's challenging. So I'm going to pick Shin Min Jun here. I think he might be back to his best form.
Yeah, I mean, like Shin Min Jun is in a hot form at the moment. Just to show you some stats, Shin Min Jun is now currently into a 7-game winning streak. Like that's his last game was 6th of May, so
Yeah,
he could make it 8.
strongest.
He could make it 8 in this one. So yeah, but everyone would have to say that Shin is favored over Xue, just in terms of just their current form and performance, and also Xue's
they're both in good form, but I think that Shin Min Jun, like as I said, last year at his best, he beat Ko Jae.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's no easy feat, regardless of how well Ko Jae's playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I say Shin Min Jun
Yeah.
wins this wins this game, and then whoever wins has to play
Koji.
Koji.
Yes. Which is crazy.
He's already I'd say he's already a legend. He's eight-time world champion.
Yeah.
His form hasn't been great recently, has it?
No. In fact, we might discuss this later on in the King of Kings. We'll talk about his performance, but he
didn't. Well, we'll say that he didn't win the King of Kings.
No. Let's just put it like that. Okay. Yeah.
I will say though that it's hard to write off Koji.
No.
Regardless of the form he's in. I mean, I just find it a little bit harder to believe that he's
past it.
Even though he's losing games, it's just hard to believe, because we've seen, how he played 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. He was just insane, and we know he's capable of that. It's hard to dismiss him against anyone except maybe Shin Jin-so.
Yeah. So, So, I guess by ratings, Koji is the favorite, but by all the other factors, really not sure. And it's going to be like a rematch.
I can't pick a winner for this. You know what? If I had to pick one, I would still pick Koji.
Yes.
I would still back him.
Yes. But we all know what happened in the final 2 years ago. So
we all 16 months ago. Yeah.
Shin Min-jun beat Koji 2-1.
That was a great final.
Yeah, it was one of the best in recent memory. So look at this next round up here.
Yeah, Park Hyun-ho, he's a youngish player. He's about 24.
Right.
23, 24.
Yeah.
He's just entered the top 10 in Korea for the first time.
Yep.
Had a very good run of form. Zhao Chenyu, he's already made a name for himself on the international scene.
Yep.
Recently made 2 semifinals.
Yep. In Cup, losing to Shin Jin-so in a 2-0. Yes.
In the In Cup, yes.
Yes.
He's a force to be reckoned with. He's actually younger than Park Hyun-ho.
Yeah.
I have to pick Zhao Chenyu on this, just based on his experience in internationals.
Yeah.
In international tournaments. Park Hyun-ho, although I'm probably more familiar with the familiar scene than any other scene, I'm not really sure how strong he is.
Yeah.
I have to back Zhao Chenyu there.
Yeah. I mean, outside of the top 3 in Korea, the player just kind of dart around the rankings, like 4 to 8, 8 to 12. They just move around, so you don't know.
Yes.
It's the same. But of course,
then the winner faces Miyu Ting. Miyu Ting is you wouldn't say he's in bad form, but he's in
mixed bag.
Mixed bag, yes. He had a performance in the King of Kings.
Yeah.
Which we'll discuss later.
Yeah.
But he also, I believe, he missed the Asian Games team.
Yeah. No, he didn't make it. No.
And he did lose to Sara Atsushi in the Chunlan Cup.
Yeah, that was just terrible.
So it's hard to know how what form he's going to be in. He's still such a good player, though. I would back him to beat either of those players.
Yeah, I think Miyu Ting is definitely a favorite versus the other two, even if you just look at the rating. So so that could happen. And to the next pair.
This is another big one.
Yeah, big one.
Although none of these players have actually won the LG Cup. We do have two Samsung Cup champions facing off in the first round.
Yeah,
Kim Ji-sok.
Yeah,
and Gu Zihao.
Is Kim number 4 in Korea at the moment? I think
number 5.
Number 5, yes. Okay. Yep.
Gu Zihao is very, very strong.
Yes. I believe by official ratings point, I think Gu is number 2 in China at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both of them, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Both of them are very experienced in international competition.
Yeah.
Kim Ji-sok is capable of beating any Chinese player not named Yang Dingxing.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, Gu Zihao is number 2 in China. I do think that he'll prove too strong for Kim Ji-sok.
All right.
I do want Kim Ji-sok to win. He's my favorite player, but I do think Gu Zihao will be too strong.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly is who gets the bye in this group.
Ding Hao. What's going on?
He's basically the Won Song Jin of China in terms of form, right?
At the moment, yes.
He lost his game in the Chunlan Cup. He didn't make the Asian Games team. He won 1 game out of 9.
Yep.
Not and in terms of like just his overall record in internationals, he hasn't made a semi-final yet.
Yeah.
He was number two in China and looked to be on track to overtake Ko Jae as number 1.
Yeah.
But now he's number 7.
Yeah, he's completely bombed during the
in
Asian
China.
Games. Yeah, quarterfinals.
I think that he loses regardless of who wins the first round. I think whoever wins will beat Ding Hao.
Yeah, I mean Ding Hao just had a terrible recent form.
He's definitely capable of beating both of those players. Like, we know how good he can be.
Yeah.
But until he starts winning games, I'm not going to back him.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to wait until he starts winning before I back him.
All right. Okay. A little bit of correction here, right? So I just looked at the Korean ranking. So it says number 1 Shin Jin So.
My
Park
apologies.
Jin-hwan, Reimbursement Day, which is Byung Sang-il. Kim Ji-sok is 4th.
My apologies. I thought he was still 5th, but you're actually right.
Yeah.
That's silly of me because I've literally got the rankings page open on my browser.
No,
I didn't realize that he'd overtaken Lee Dong-hoon, the 4th. But yeah, you're right. He is number 4 in Korea.
The thing is, with the Korean ranking, after number 3, like 4 to 7, they just move around. Like you never know.
Yeah, for example, Shin Min-jun is actually only rated number 7,
right,
in Korea. But I can almost guarantee you that next month he'll be in the top 5.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it just they move around too much. But regardless, I do think Gu Zihao beats Kim Ji-sok. Yeah.
I'm picking Gu Zihao to make the quarterfinals.
Yes. That could happen. Ding Hao has a higher rating point, but it's overrated because a lot of the Asian games qualifiers do not have Kifu, so they don't come to the ratings point calculation.
That's right. If they don't have Kifus, they're not going to be incorporated into this rating system.
Yeah. So So it's definitely overrated at this stage. But hey.
Yeah. I mean,
still
the Chinese ratings do include those games, and he's ranked 7th there.
So Ding Hao wouldn't be the favorite versus Gu.
Okay.
And the next pairing, Kang.
So this group here is one of 2 all-Korean groups. So this guarantees a Korean quarterfinalist.
Yeah.
The first round are 2 absolute veterans of the Korean scene.
Yeah.
Well, not absolute veterans. We're not talking about Lee Chang-ho here.
Yeah.
But two veterans.
Yeah.
Kang Dong-yoon and Cho Han-seung.
Yeah.
Kang Dong-yoon, of course, is a former LG Cup champion.
Yeah.
This is his 12th straight LG Cup.
Right.
Thanks to the wild card.
Yeah.
Cho Han-seung, I think this is his first LG Cup in I want to say 9 years. Let me just quickly check that.
Yeah.
Okay, Cho Han-seung last competed in. No, my mistake. He competed. Oh no, I'm right. He competed in the 18th LG Cup, and this is the 27th. So it's his first LG Cup in 9 years.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old, so I think he's definitely the oldest player in this field. But he's recently found some form. Of course, he won 5 or 6 games. I think 5 games, including beating Han Sung-joo and Choi Jong to qualify for this LG Cup.
Yeah.
He just played for Shin Jin So's team in the Korean League, where he won both of his games.
Yeah.
So he's in a little bit of form.
Yeah.
But then again, Kang Dong-yoon is also in good form.
Yeah.
Although he missed out on retaining his seed for the Korean Strongest tournament.
Yeah. That was just bad luck. Yeah.
He's currently undefeated in the YK Construction Cup.
Yep.
Admittedly, that is a fast tournament.
Yep.
But I do think that Kang Dong-yoon will prevail.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah. I
in
think
this matchup.
Yeah, I think Cho Han-seon is like Gu Lee's generation, so
he is Gu Lee's generation. He's actually older than Gu Lee.
Yeah, so it's not he's not really
who's semi-retired, and he's older than Lee Sedol, who is fully retired.
Yeah, Lee Sedol's gone, unfortunately. But hey, so you expect Kang here, and then Park versus Kang is
the round of 16 matchup is more interesting than it looks. Of course, Park Jun-hwan is number 2 in Korea. He's been top 2 in Korea for probably the last 15 years. I don't know.
Yep.
But he has hit a bit of a rough patch recently. He almost lost his seed in the Korea's strongest tournament. He didn't end up coming close to winning it. I think he was 2 games off. He recently just lost to Kang Dong-yoon in the YK Construction Cup, and he did lose to Kang Seung-min in the Korean League finals. Yeah. So he hasn't been winning sort of games at the rate that he usually does of recent times. And like I said, he just lost to Kang Dong-yoon.
Yeah.
In the YK Construction Cup, but that's a fast tournament, which is a lot different than the LG Cup's 3-hour time.
Yeah.
I do think that despite his recent struggles, which I think includes, he lost in the Chunlan Cup as well. Am I right?
Park Jun-hwan, he lost to Lee Weiqi. Lee Weiqi had a pretty big reversal, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. He lost by 1.5 points. Yeah. I do think that he will beat the other player and make the quarterfinals this time.
Yeah.
No. But it don't be surprised if you see Kang Dong-yoon in the quarterfinals.
Yes. I wouldn't be that surprised. It could really happen.
Yeah.
So let's look at the next one.
The next group. This is the second All-Korean group.
Yeah.
And it contains 2 very strong, very informed Korean players.
Yeah.
The first round is Kim Young-hoon versus Seo Hyun-jun.
Yeah.
Now, Seo Hyun-jun, he had a very good first half of the Korean League.
Mm-hmm.
His second half was so-so, but he also obviously qualified for the LG Cup. I don't know if he's played any games since then.
Mm.
But obviously he's fairly good. I think he might be top 20 in Korea. But Kim Young-hoon, he's in amazing form. Kim Young-hoon actually, I just checked. Seo Hyun-jun is number 14 in Korea. Kim Young-hoon, he's number 10, so he's not that far ahead of Seo Hyun-jun, but he's having a great year. Like just the entire year. So I'll just quickly check how many. He's currently 23 wins and 5 losses this year.
Wow.
Kim Young-hoon.
Yep.
That's the number 2 for win rate. He's won 82% of his games. That's number 2 in Korea.
Wow.
He recently beat Shin Jin-so in the YK Construction Cup.
Yep.
And he's obviously very highly regarded by the Korean Baduk Association because he was seeded directly into this LG Cup. He didn't have to qualify. So yeah, just by his clear recent form, I have to pick Kim Young-hoon for this. He came close to beating Ko Jae. You could say he came close to beating Ko Jae in the Chunlan Cup.
Yeah.
Although he did have to spend all of his main time to get advantageous position, and then he couldn't, convert it in Ayumi. But the potential's definitely there. He's also quite young. He's about 24.
Yeah.
But whoever wins that game has to come up against Korea's number 3, Byun Sang-il.
Yeah.
Who recently had success internationally in the Kuksu Mountains international tournament, which isn't a major.
No.
But he still beat Shin Jin-so in the final of that tournament. So
that's right. Yeah.
it's still notable. And like I said, he is Korea's number 3.
Yeah.
And he also was he also won, I think, 6 games or 7 games in the. No, I think he won 7 games in the Korean Strongest League,
Yeah.
and he only missed out on challenging
Yeah.
on winning the league by tiebreak.
Yeah. He lost.
So
Because he lost a game to
the Shinmin-jun.
Shinmin-jun. So
That was the only game he lost. He did beat like Park Jong-hwan, Kang Dong-yoon,
yeah.
all those players.
Yeah.
So both of these players are in very good form. I'm gonna have to pick Byun Sang-gil just based on his track record.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So we got Byung. Next group is Park Ha-min versus Yu Zhengqi of Japan.
So Yu Zhengqi, he was one of the Japanese seeds.
Yep.
He's currently been falling short of, continuing to fall short of a major title in Japan.
Yep.
He just lost the Judan final, the Judan title match 3-0 to Su Xiaowan.
Yep.
He recently lost the Honinbo Challenger playoff to Ichiriki Ryo.
Yep.
Mind you, if he'd won that Challenger playoff, he wouldn't be in this LG Cup.
Yeah.
Because this tournament clashes with Game 3 of the Honinbo.
Yeah.
All
right. So that's probably why Ichiriki and Iyama is not here.
Right. Yeah. No, that's exactly why they're not here, because of the clash.
Yeah. That's
Yu Zhengqi. No, and then we've got Park Ha-min, who he's actually I think he is the most junior 9-dan in Korea. By junior, I mean of all the 9-dans in Korea, he turned pro the most recently.
Right.
He's not the youngest 9-dan in Korea. I believe that's still Shin Jin-so.
Yep.
But Park Ha-min turned pro in 2015. There's all of the other 9-dans in Korea turned pro earlier than that.
Oh wow!
So he also just turned 9-dan this year.
Yep.
And also this is his first world major, not just his first LG Cup, his first international major.
Yep. So it could go either way, I guess.
He is. I mean, he is a strong player. I'll just quickly check his ranking. He's definitely in the top 15. He's 11th. He's number 11 in Korea. But you know what? I'm just gonna say, just for fun, I'm gonna pick Yu Zhengqi.
Yep.
For this game, it could go either way.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. But of course, the winner will have to face Shin Jin-so.
Well, I mean that's what they're coming up against. Yeah, whoever wins, they then have to play Shin Jin-so.
Yeah.
To make it to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
An upset could happen. An upset can always happen. Any of these players has the chance of beating anyone else.
Yeah.
In a million simulations, I don't think this is going to be the time that Shin Jin-so loses.
Oh no! So I mean, even according to the ratings, it's like 1 in 10 chance that Shin Jin-so could lose. But
and Shin Jin-so is not overrated.
No, I think 1 in 10 might actually just be like an overestimate. But anyway.
I would almost say that. I would almost say it was an overestimate. Shin Jin-so is not just stronger; he also he's insanely tenacious.
Yes.
As he demonstrated in Game 1 of the final against Yang Dingjing.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be tough for Park Ha-min and Yu Zhengqi. There's no way I can bet against Shin Jin-so in that one.
But if it did, it would be big news.
Big news, yes. Yeah. Oh, huge news.
Yeah, huge.
It'd be the upset of the tournament for sure.
Yeah, that would be. Okay, so now to Park Jin-so and Ida Atsushi.
Okay, so that's a bit of a slight mistype there. It's actually Sada Atsushi.
Oh, it's a Sada Atsushi.
It's Sada Atsushi who is who's playing, but we'll correct that later.
All right.
I'm sure that'll get corrected later. But Park Jin-sol, he's also one of like Park Ha-min,
Yeah.
he was one of the Taijin players.
Yeah.
In the Korean League. I'll see if I think he's also in the top 15. No, sorry, he's only 25th. He's 25th in Korea.
Yeah.
He has won tournaments in the past though, hasn't he?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
No, maybe he hasn't. But no. He did beat Shinjinzo in the Maxim Cup last year.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing I remember about him.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember about him too. But Sada Atsushi, he's probably best known currently for beating Mi Yuting in the Chunlan Cup.
Yeah.
And obviously he also did well. I remember he also beat Rina Fujisawa Rina in the Judan quarterfinals.
Right.
And obviously, he did well enough to. He was the Japanese player that had to qualify. He had to beat Fukuoka Kotaro.
Yep.
Japan's very promising young player to qualify. Yep. And again, I'm going to predict Sada Atsushi here.
Oh wow.
He's capable. Like he was capable of beating Mi Yuting. I think he's capable of beating Park Jin-sol. By the way, Sada Atsushi, along with Park Ha-min, they're the two LG Cup debutants.
All right.
Yeah. But of course, this isn't Sada Atsushi's first world major. He competed in the Chunlan Cup earlier this year. That wasn't his first world major either, but this is his first LG Cup. And I say I'm going to tip him to beat Park Jin-sol.
Yeah. All right.
But whoever wins that has to come up against this year's finalist.
Yeah.
And former LG Cup champion, Yang Dingjin.
Yeah. So.
And that's going to be hard. Yang Dingjin, he almost beat Shinjinzo in game 1.
Yeah.
He's top 5 in China. I can't rule. I can't.
You can't see it happening.
No, I can't see it happening. Not those two players. No.
Yeah. No. So. Oh look, Sada Atsushi. It's been changed. Oh.
There we go. Even though it's been changed, I can't rule out yet. I can't.
No.
Tip against Yang Dingjin.
Yeah. So so that's all the matchups from the draw. I just really want to quickly go through the predictions. Really. Of course, Shinjinso has got like a 43% chance of winning just by this pure simulation based on the ratings, which is quite crazy.
That's really big. That's almost 50% in a 24 player field.
Yeah, like that's actually really crazy. And if you look at if you just use these kind of percentages like 30-40% and you multiply by how many tournaments, international tournaments they are expected to be before Shinjinso turns 30. And keeping in mind that no player over the age of 30 has won an international since Guli at 32. So if we just take into account the age and all of that, Shinjinso might overtake Lee Suljoo in terms of the number of titles just by looking at the expectations.
I think it's really premature to consider that. Shinjinso for the record has won 3 international majors.
Yeah, some would say 4, but 3 is fine.
let's not go there. It is true that he still has he's made the final of another international tournament which is yet to be played.
Yes.
But it's you not only do you have to factor in the strength of the competition, including rising stars.
Yeah.
You also have to consider the scheduling of tournaments and frequency of occurrences.
Yeah. Like
currently, it seems like the LG Cup, Samsung Cup, and Chunlan Cup are the only stable tournaments at the moment.
Yeah.
International majors. The Bailin Cup seems to have gone missing.
Yeah.
There's been I don't know of any announcement of the M Lily Cup.
Yeah.
The Chuzhou Lanka Cup seems to be delayed.
Yeah.
And hasn't started yet. And of course, the In Cup final has been in limbo for over a year now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So without the quantity, the
Yeah.
availability of international tournaments,
Yeah.
that severely affects players
Yeah.
like Koji and Shin Jin So from
Yeah.
adding to their
Yeah.
trophy cabinet.
Yeah, no, that's true. But but I kind of, if you assume COVID improves and tournaments start running regularly, and you just run the numbers at Shinjinso winning each tournament at 40-30, it's within striking distance of Lee Sedol. But of course assumes a lot of things like that he can
I would
maintain.
say it would be a even at Shinjin So's ability,
Yeah,
and considering the fact that he's still only 22,
yeah,
it would be a hell of an achievement if he equaled Lee Sedol
yeah,
in world majors.
yeah, yeah. It'll be crazy. They'll put him number 2 ever, right? But
And that just goes to show you. I mean, even though there may have been more world majors back at that time,
yeah,
it just goes to show how crazy it was that Lee Sedol won 14 majors and Lee Chang-ho
yeah,
won 17.
yeah. That's crazy. It's just crazy numbers. Um, even Sinjin So is expected to just maybe touch Lee Seido. Yeah, but hey, Kerja has no chance at this kind of win rate. So let's forget about him. But based on ratings, and as I mentioned before, Ding Hao is overrated, so 10% is definitely a bit overrated for him. Yeah, so you got that's your usual suspects in terms of their chances of winning. I guess after Kang Dong Yun, it's 0%. But if you run a million simulations, maybe 200 of them would
Yeah,
have
I
Kang
mean,
Dong
but
Yun
it's
winning.
interesting. Like Shin Min Jun, you've got him at 0%. Would
Yeah.
he have been at 0% 2 years ago?
Uh, I would
He wouldn't
imagine
have been. He
similar.
wouldn't have
Similar.
been that much. He wouldn't have been much
Yeah.
higher.
No, it probably wasn't. I think his rating wasn't that great back then either.
I would honestly say Shin Min Jun's a bit of a dark horse for this
Yeah.
tournament, just based on his current form.
Yeah, and of course we can't look at everything just by ratings because you're under a lot more pressure in an international title. So players like Tang Wei Xin, who by ratings probably shouldn't be winning any title, he's got 3. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
and another very interesting point, which we'll get to soon, is that it's quite possible that China's strongest player
yeah,
isn't even playing in the LG Cup.
right
In fact, China's strongest 2 players, you could arguably say, are
at the
not
moment.
are not in the LG
Yes,
Cup.
at the moment, yes.
But we'll get to that soon.
Yeah. So that's a wrap of the LG Cup, and we will cover what we've been teasing. Basically, is the King of Kings, which is quite a title for a tournament, quite a name for a tournament, if I may say so.
Yeah, have you got that on the screen?
I am about to bring that up, which is here.
Right.
So this is all our King of Kings posts of the week. Of course, the King of Kings. This is the third King of Kings. I don't know. They don't seem to be running at a very regular schedule.
But I think you may have mentioned before that the king they may only hold the King of Kings once they have enough players.
No, that's my conjecture. But I listened to a podcast, and the podcast says that seems to suggest, based on my reading of the podcast, is that they may, if they don't have enough players who have won competitions, they may just choose the rest of the players to fill the top 8 by ratings points. But that raises a question: what if they have more than 8 players who have won? So maybe the format will need to change. I don't know what happened, but yeah. But this is the King of Kings. So the reason why, I think we mentioned this before, why it's called the King of Kings is because it's you have to have won a title, a competition, either domestic or international, to even qualify for this tournament. So
And you have to either be the current King of Kings
yeah,
or have won a title since that tournament took
since
place,
that
right?
tournament, that's right. So that's where we have a really like a strong field. So apparently, Xu Cheayoung, the person you're looking at here, is the only player outside of the Chinese top 8 to be in this tournament. So the rest are literally top 7, the number 1 to 7 in China, right? So which kind of makes a lot of sense. And of course, Xu Jiayang faces Lee Xuanhao in the first round, And would you say Lee Suljoo is one of the top Chinese players missing in LG Cup at the moment?
I would say that he'd be top 2 in China. Prior to this tournament, I would have considered him to be top 2.
Yeah.
Based on his performance in the Asian Games qualifier and the Chuzhou Lanka Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. So because he's just done so well recently, he won the Lanka Cup. Was in the King of Kings? We'll see his performance here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned in the last podcast, it seems like Shin Jin-so also considers him to be top 2 in China.
Yes. So they had an interview with the Mok Jin-sok, the national team coach. He mentioned he mentioned that Shin Jin-so rates Lee very highly, and on Chinese Weibo, someone one of the netizens picked up an interesting detail, because when the King of Kings was going on, of course the Hoban Cup was also going on as well, and that day it was, I believe, Wu Yiming versus Heo Seohyun in the Hoban Cup.
That's right.
And these 4 games in the King of Kings was happening, and guess which game Shin Jin-so was a spectator.
Well, I think he would have been spectating the Lee Xuanhao game.
Yes, and that was the only game he was spectating on for a while.
So he wasn't spectating the Koje game?
No, not initially. I think he clicked into the Lee Xuanhao one first, and at that point he wasn't looking at another game. Or maybe later on he clicked into all the other ones. But Shin Jin-so is very keen at checking out Lee Xuanhao's games. Just because, I guess, of Lee Xuanhao's recent form. So yeah, that speaks to how well Lee Xuanhao is playing at the moment. So Lee Xuanhao versus Xie Yimin in the first round. Even by ratings point, Lee Xuanhao is still in a 5-6, but he might be underrated at this point.
Yeah, you'd have to pick Lee Xuanhao now.
Yeah, in that one. And then Yang Dingxin versus Gu Zihao, with number 2 and 3 in China.
You couldn't separate them.
Yeah, so could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Ding Hao, terrible form. Is the terrible form going to continue? Versus
if it's bag? Yeah, I think it will. But like I said, I'm not going to back him again until he starts winning.
Yeah,
until he proves me wrong.
Now, Ding Hao lost in the Asian Games 1-8. That's we all know that. Ding Hao also exited first round in the Lanka Cup to Lee Xuanhao.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. So just been terrible. April for Ding. So Ding versus me Yu Ting's mixed bag. So let's see what happens. And Koje versus Fan Tingyu. And would you say Fan Tingyu is the second player that's missing from the LG Cup?
Yes. Fan Tingyu also had a really strong Asian Games qualifier.
Yeah, 8-1.
8-1, yeah, and he made the final with Chuzhou Lanka, losing to Lee Xuanhao.
Yeah.
I would put him. I would say you could argue that Lee Xuanhao and Fan Tingyu are the top 2 Chinese players.
Yeah.
At the moment, and neither of them are in the LG Cup.
Yeah. And
that's of course that's arguable, but if Fan Tingyu beats Koje in this round, that opinion becomes stronger.
Yeah. And another thing to mention, look, Lee Xuanhao and Fan Tingyu are on opposite side of the bracket, so they could meet in the final again. I mean, it's possible.
Oh, a rematch! Yeah, that'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. And okay, so let's actually. But by the way, I was going to mention Lee Xuanhao is actually still in the Chunlan Cup, so it still could happen. Okay, so let's look at the first round results. So we have Lee Xuanhao beating Xie Yimin, continuing his good form.
Yes, good win there.
Yeah, Gu Zihao beat Yang Dingxin. It's again could have gone either way, but
I don't remember that game. Actually.
Yeah,
got to admit.
Yeah, I only watched part of the game. I think it was a pretty crazy fight, and Gu Zihao is good, like good at fighting. So, so there was Gu won that one, and Ding.
This was a depressing game.
Yeah,
Ding. Not because Ding had a chance, but because he had no chance. Just from watching the game, it just seemed like the same form that we've seen Ding the last few weeks, couple of months.
Yeah, so unfortunately, he's not out of the woods yet. So a bit disappointing. But
Yeah, disappointing and yeah.
But Ding, I mean, it's disappointing. I think he should have won at least half his games, even though he's playing like top players like me. But just going, what's it now? One for 10. It's just crazy. So another first round exit for Ding. But hey, and Fan Tingyu versus Kerje, and Fan managed to come out on top by
But
half a point.
he was losing though, right?
Yeah. Well, he only won by half a point. Now this I did watch this game on the commentary of it, and Kerje just plays so well in the first half all the way till the middle game. The commentator says if Kerje plays like this, Sin Jin So has no chance versus Kerje. Right, that's what the commentator says.
Yeah.
Then Fan Tingyu started to fight back and managed to just chip
Wow.
away at Kerje's
What
advantage.
a jinx.
To chip away at Kerje's advantage little by little, and in the end it was a half a point win. So, and that was the only game that there was not a win by resignation, right? So that was how close this game was. So it's just bad luck for Kerje, but another first round exit for Kerje. You may remember that Kerje also exited in the Lenker Cup first round to Liao Yinhe. So Ding Kerr. Oh, what's happening? Don't know. But
I mean, Kerje, he yeah, I don't know about Kerje. I mean, he did lose to Fan Tingyu here, and he almost won.
Yeah.
So
almost.
Fan Tingyu's in great form.
Yeah.
So Kerje, I mean, I still back him in the LG Cup.
Yeah.
Even though
he's had two first round exits.
Even though he's had two first round exits, yeah. But Ding Hao just seems to be
in the doldrums.
Yeah.
That's a bit sad to see. But anyway.
Interesting. But on the positive side, we've got Lee Xuanhao winning, Fan Tingyu winning.
Yeah. So Lee Xuanhao versus Gu Zihao, and Mi Yuting versus Fan Tingyu in the next round. So
what happened in the next round?
Let's see what happened in the next round.
Yes.
Okay, before the next round, let's look at some picks. So this
very professional. I like this room.
This is the picks. Seems to be this is where they are playing.
Oh, this looks comfy.
Yeah, so they're playing all by mask, and they have two dudes here. One is on a computer, one isn't. So I wonder what are the roles. Maybe one is a timekeeper, the other one is just records the Kifu.
I think that's what happens.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Actually, they also have a clock there, so don't know what's happening. But I
will say,
yeah.
Are they wearing? They're wearing very professional attire here.
Yeah, suits and stuff. Yes. I don't think it's a requirement, but they do tend to do it. Okay.
Very nice.
I also have a theory that if you only have one Kifu recorder, what if the Kifu recorder was bribed and working in concert with one of the players? So maybe they put another person here to watch the Kifu recorder.
Right.
Maybe. Not sure. Yeah. So that's our Ding, the Ding Hao and Mi Yuting over here.
Yeah.
Some food. Apparently, because they don't have lunch breaks anymore, they just have food on the side for the players to.
Oh, they have to eat this during the game.
Yeah, they can. I think they can. I mean, we've seen Ichiriki eating cakes during the games, right? So
I didn't realize Fan Tingyu was so short.
Oh, he's diminutive. It's yeah. And Gu Zihao is thin as a stick as well. Yeah, so that's Xie Yimin here, he's the tallest player.
Right, Xie Yimin.
Kerje is second tallest. Yep, okay, so that's all right. So,
it's all right.
So that's how Lee Xuanhao, some news reporters, they're doing the draw, playing the games.
Fan Tingyu seems to have missed the memo about the attire, the dress code.
Yeah, I don't think he cares that much. Yeah, I mean it's better than Shaker. We saw a picture of him just shirts tucked in, unironed, walking onto stage. Kerje is in full attire, but Kerje recently went to business school, so yeah, maybe.
Good for him.
Part of the uniform, maybe. Yeah.
Good for him, but sucks about the result.
Yeah. So let's look at some more picks.
Nice.
That's just profiles of the players. Not much here. Some games. Okay, and
Lovely.
and to the second round.
Yes. What happened?
Oh my God! Lee Xuanhao versus Gu Zihao. Lee
Yeah.
Xuanhao also won this game.
Lee Xuanhao won.
Won,
Won
yeah,
again.
yeah, beating
Wow.
China's number 2 at the moment. So he's progressed. Mi Yuting versus Fan Tingyu. So Fan also won against Mi Yuting. So now
Oh, no kidding.
no kidding. So it's Lee Xuanhao and Fan Tingyu final rematch again.
Wow, a rematch. Okay. Look, I'm gonna have to say it now.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Lee Junhao, Fan Tingyu are the top 2 players in China
Oh my
at the
God.
moment.
Yes. Based on their most recent performance in 2 knockout
Based on the
tournaments.
past 2 months,
Yeah.
in the Chuzhou Lanka Cup, the Asian Games qualifiers, and these King of Kings,
Yeah.
I consider them to be the top 2 players in China,
At the moment, yes.
even ahead of Kojo.
Yes. In terms of form, I mean, it's hard to argue.
And neither of them are playing in the LG Cup.
No. Just goes to show how competitive this.
The Chinese scene is so competitive, yes.
It's just crazy. Now, in the Li Xuanhao versus Gu Zihao game, there's a very remarkable move. We have to show it. This is move 22. So Li Xuanhao is white, Gu Zihao is black. In this position, guess where white plays next.
I don't know.
Let's
on the right.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Oh, what?
White plays a witch right in the middle of two stones. That black just made a 1 space jump, and there's a couple of clips on Pro Weiqi and just showing the reactions of the commentator when he saw this move. He was like he was just like, what? This is crazy, and apparently that was one of the AI suggested moves. And after this whole sequence, white isn't behind. I mean, it's white isn't ahead, but white is not behind. So that was actually, I believe would be part of Li Xuanhao's like preparation. He kind of played through this exact layout with AI, and he knew that was a possible move. And a little bit of the story about Li Xuanhao. Like before Li Xuanhao just kind of exploded in the last 2 months. The commentator Wang Haoyang he mentioned a story where he played. Actually, that was about Li Weiqing. I got them mixed up. But anyway, but the point is that young players, they spend a lot of time analyzing AI, so they know this stuff really deep, including AI's moves. But in that story that I was going to tell, which I mixed up the two people, I think it was Li Weiqing. Wang Haoyang was saying at move 50, this is after the game. They were just doing a review of the game. At move 50, Li Weiqing was still telling him that AI says that this move would gain you 2%. This one will lose you 2%. At move 50, so that their knowledge of AI is so deep in some of these situations. But Li Xuanhao also studies very hard with AI, so he's got his nickname is AI related in China. So he plays a lot of AI moves. So very deep research. But anyway, Li Xuanhao versus Mi Yuting final. Could go either way.
Fan Tingyu more, don't you mean?
Yeah, Fan Tingyu and Li Xuanhao. And of course, this is a rematch of the Lanka Cup final, which these two played. So,
what happened?
Let's find out what happened.
This game happened today as we're recording.
And I haven't even looked at the Kifu yet. I have looked at the Kifu, but Li Xuanhao came out on top again. OMG. That's crazy.
That's unbelievable. What is it? What's his win streak now? It must be.
I believe his win streak might be 7 or something. So he's something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, his win streak is it's like quite high. So he might continue for a couple of games. I don't know when this is going to stop, but yeah. But also the other thing is that the third place playoff also played today between Mi Yuting and Guzi.
They have a third place playoff, but
Yeah.
the tournament's called King of Kings.
Oh well, I mean it does happen. I guess Mi Yuting won that one.
It's not third place of Kings.
Well, in football they have the European Champions League, and you can literally come fourth in one of the leagues and still make it to the Champions League.
All right.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. That's a
true,
good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can come fourth in the league and make it to the Champions League. Yeah.
The second tier of English football is called the Championship. So
That's a sponsorship thing, I think.
yeah,
But no, fair point. More game. I shouldn't criticize more games.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what happened.
But
So
yeah,
congrats
Lee
to Lee
Suljoo.
Yeah.
If only he was in the LG Cup.
Well, he could have done something, but he's in the Chunlan Cup still. So
Wait, how much is the prize money for this?
Oh yes, I think I mentioned it. It's 1 million renminbi. So that's the Chinese currency.
In Australian currency, that's about 200 grand.
Yes, that would easily put you in the top 2% of income.
That's
or something.
That's a nice chunk of change for 3 games. He won 3 games and he gets 200 grand.
Well, I mean, to qualify, it's pretty tough. But you win 3 games.
Obviously, but to qualify, you win money.
Yeah.
Winning the to qualify, you win a tournament and you win the money for that tournament.
Yeah. Well,
so this is extra money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Money in any kind of sport tends to concentrate at the top. That's why. And you got Fan Tingyu collected a cool 400,000 as well, so it's not too bad.
That's about 80,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah. And Mi Yuting coming third collected 120,000, I believe.
So that's about 24,000 Australian dollars.
I think Guzi Hao might have collected 80,000, something like that.
80,000, so about 16,000 Australian dollars.
It's not bad for 3.
No, that's not bad at all. Guzi Hao would have won 1 game and lost 2.
Yeah.
And he got 16,000 for it.
Yeah. So it's a good run, and I think there's other games that have happened this week, but I think we should discuss them together next week.
Well, should we discuss the Honinbo?
We can discuss the Honinbo. So let's talk about Honinbo Game 2. What's happened in the Honinbo Game 2?
I think maybe we'll do this to wrap up the
week.
The week, yeah. There's been a couple of other games, but
but we can.
I think we have to discuss the Honinbo.
Honinbo Game 2.
So this is Game 2. First off, I just want to say this was played in a rugby stadium.
Yes, we do have pictures of that.
We have pictures. If you can find those pictures,
yeah.
I just think it's brilliant.
Why is that?
I would have expected all of these games to be held in sort of temple type, traditional, religious or temple type areas, because they always seem to be held like there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But is that the Kisei or is that Honinbo Game 1?
There might have been Honinbo. That's Honinbo Game 1 probably. Yep.
Oh yes, that is Game 1. Yeah, and from what I've watched, they almost always seem to, at the very least, the 2-day matches almost always seem to be held in shrines like that. Yeah. But this was held in a rugby stadium.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to see sort of that sort of crossover.
Right.
Go and rugby. So I think it was held in Saitama.
Yeah.
Which is apparently, I've been told, is sort of the rugby capital of Japan.
Right.
So they seem to have held the game in a VIP box of the rugby stadium.
Yeah.
It was a very nicely carpeted area. There we go.
Yeah.
So it's Kumagaya Saitama. Maybe that's the name of the team.
Yeah.
I think Saitama is the name of the region.
Right.
And there we go. They're wearing the rugby kits.
Yeah.
They look a bit daggy, but
Yeah.
because they're clearly wearing they're clearly wearing collared shirts underneath the rugby jerseys.
Yeah.
But I still think it's really cool to hold a major Go title game in a rugby stadium, just to break the status quo,
Yeah.
and yeah, to see this sort of crossover,
Yes.
it's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I do remember that Japan's probably most famous result in the Rugby World Cup was them beating South Africa. Of course, being South Africa is one of the strongest rugby nations.
South Africa is one of the strongest teams.
Yeah.
They're actually the current World Cup champions.
Right, and I believe they got beat by Japan in the group games.
That's a massive that's a massive result.
That's a massive result. So
Japan also hosted a World Cup recently. Not I don't think they hosted the last one, but the one before that.
Right. Yeah. I remember that it was in Japan.
Yeah, rugby's pretty big in Japan.
Yeah. I think I think Japan might be the only Asian nation with like a relatively okay rugby team, because I think China and Korea have pretty bad.
No, China and Korea don't have a rugby scene. Japan must have the strongest.
Yeah, in Asia.
Asian.
Yeah.
They must be the strongest nation in Asia.
Yeah, and so so I'm not sure of the story behind it, but yeah, they did hold it in a rugby stadium, which is cool. Yeah, so that's that. But in terms of the game, I think we should just bring up the game just for a change. What do you think about the game?
So this one started off from the first 50 moves. It seemed a little bit quieter.
Yeah.
Than game one.
Yeah.
In that there seemed to be game one. There seemed to be so many groups that weren't that just attacking each other. Nothing. There was so little that seemed to be completely alive.
Yeah.
Here you've definitely got some pressuring on the white stones at the top.
Yeah.
And on the right.
Yeah.
But it did also seem to be a little bit more calm, more free flowing.
Yeah.
This game, so at the very least, at the beginning of it, seemed more potential for groups to live.
Yeah.
Like most of the groups.
Yeah.
And so then there was this attack on the white group at the top.
Yeah. Now, so one thing I have studied this game with AI. Unfortunately, there's no commentary of this game existed in a language that I can understand. So that might come out at some point. But my impression was that for the longest time, AI was saying either side should somehow deal with this. Like, if white plays, white should strengthen itself. If black plays, black should attack. But for the longest time, these two players just ignore this group and just keep playing elsewhere, which I thought was quite strange, because even from my eyes, I would have thought that just by looking at this is by far the weakest group, and it's like if I was playing against a stronger player, like this white group probably would have died. It's just like that's just it's just so precarious, surrounded by all these black stones.
Right.
But neither player wanted to play there. It feels like they're saying, white is saying to black, "Oh, play one more move, then I save myself. So you spend one more move here," and black is saying, "No, spend one move, you're saving yourself, and then I attack you. So more of your stones get attacked." That seems to be what they're saying to each other. Black is like Ichiriki, white is Iyama, Yuta here, and then they start attacking this white group. So when black makes a move, now white makes a move. Even though AI has been saying, white, you should just take care of yourself much sooner. And I just felt that because all of these moves were played in the first day, both sides played really cautiously. If I remember this move, when black played this move, I thought it's really, really cautious. Because I guess even if black tries to come in here, it's very hard for white to just cut it off, because black can just harness up and just still connect under. Even AI says that, but it feels very cautious. And I think I heard a theory that they don't really want to play any kind of big moves that can be researched overnight on day one, just in case, that you just research to death. So that's why maybe they just, instead of playing a risky move, that could be refuted. They would just say, I'm going to play cautiously. At least I'm not going to just collapse. The whole position is not going to collapse. So this group, honestly, if I was white, it would just die. Like, seriously, I don't see that. But obviously, I analyzed it, and there's actually white's in control the whole time. Like,
so just for a bit of time reference, move 78 was the sealed move.
Yeah,
that was the sealed move.
Yeah,
and yeah, I think the idea is to separate black, and fight more.
Yeah. So I did analyze, as I said, I did analyze this game with AI. So basically, what's actually happened, because white is actually in control the whole time. It wasn't white group wasn't really in danger of dying, and the reason is because you see these two white stones here, that's cutting it, pulling out this white stone is sente, and then pulling out this white stone is in sente, because once you pull out both of these white stones, notice that this black group is not connected. Also, this black group is not exactly strong. So if white can somehow pull these two white stones out in sente, either this black group will be in trouble or this black group will be in trouble. So white is actually in control the whole time, actually. And so white wasn't really going to die in the middle just because of the weaknesses I just discussed. And it turns out that I would use untidy to describe Ichiriki Rio's as black's play here, because I think Ichiriki also recognizes that white can cut here and white's got sentes pulling out these stones. So I think Ichiriki really wanted to play black here in such a way that he can get rid of the threats in sente. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like he wants to do. That's why he's like pushing, making this shape and whatever. But that's just really untidy. I think really AI just suggests just capture one of them.
Yeah, I remember the AI suggested
just capture it. Don't play all these moves, because what ended up happening is white actually got like more, like some got some free moves on the outside basically, and even when black played here, apparently, according to AI, black can still run out this stone, which is actually what happened later on in the game. But anyway, after white got these free moves down here, it's time for white to live on the inside. So I think white's probably read this out already. So white knew that it can live. So then at this point, I believe, I think it's not here. I think by this, so now this white group is in a bit of a trouble. So white tries to live, and I think Iyama just played a bit inaccurate inside here, like especially some moves like this.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is the moment where white fell behind. So yeah, after black takes, just no weakness here. I still to this day not really sure why white played here and then let black Atari. Maybe it thinks that it's giving black a choice, because black could take this one stone or Atari, and then depending on what black chooses, white can do something different. But I couldn't really figure it out. But anyway, so let black Atari and then black took. I think after this point, I believe AI is saying that black is ahead. Of course, you have to realize that white still has to live here. It's not alive. So white cuts and lived, but apparently this white group is in trouble after black plays this. It should just be captured. But that's when Iyama pulled out this white stone, this RG that with the AI has been suggested he should have played much earlier. He pulls it out at this point. But what ended up happening is Ichiriki says, okay, I'm going to take the safe route and just kill this white group, make sure it's killed. But so just play safe. But that's why white got this thing. So it's like, so black got this, white got this. But after this trade, I believe AI says that Ichiriki is ahead.
I think it was close to. It was close. It was maybe 70
Right.
to 30%.
Right. But yeah, but if you look at this, right, it does look like Ichiriki played it really safe, like played multiple moves inside here to kill this white.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, it's Ichiriki was a little bit ahead, and let's keep playing here. It's not. I analyzed this part with AI. It's actually very interesting. And is this the move that you thought Ichiriki just played Gote for no reason?
Yes, I thought this move was just Gote for no reason.
Yeah. Yes. So I did analyze it with AI. I can kind of see why Ichiriki played this. Yeah, because okay, let's look at this position here. Like all Ichiriki still has 3 liberties, right? So Ichiriki doesn't have to capture these 2 white stones, which only has 2 liberties. So when white played here, I guess what white can do is just Atari and Sente twice, pull out this 1 stone. So this now like a brick wall here. And what that actually does is that when white harness here to save these stones, black cannot cut because there's a white wall here. Maybe there will be like a video release that comes out that explains this. But I think that's why. And Richie, for some reason, doesn't really want black to pull this out. So he decides to play this, which is kind of Gote. And so, yeah, which allowed white to run out of this group. Before then, white really had no time to play this, even though the ladder is broken for the longest time, So anyway, so that kind of is Gote and allowed white to pull it out. But I believe at this point, Ichiriki was still somewhat leading. Yeah. And,
Can I just ask, at this point here, if black plays to the left of that stone...
you mean left of the stone?
Like, yeah, like there.
Yeah.
Are those 4 white stones on the left dead?
I didn't exactly look at this variation, but black could just maybe extend here at e5. That would probably make the white dead, or maybe even here. But it doesn't look. It might just be dead. But this move is very interesting. Of course, white is gonna make a tiger's mouth and save these 3 stones. Right? It's possible. And but if it's just about saving these 3 stones, maybe that's why Ichiriki thought, yeah, just 3 stones, just points, right? So I'm gonna play here. I think Ichiriki thinks that playing here is Sente. White has to respond in the corner, and then maybe Ichiriki will come back. But this turns out to be Ichiriki's fatal mistake.
By fatal mistake, the AI had Ichiriki before that move at 95%.
95%. And what happened after?
After the move, he was 15%.
15%. So
that's an 80% swing.
Yeah. So I think Ichiriki had a misread here. Hopefully we'll get an explainer video explaining this. But I think Ichiriki thought that this is Sente against this group. Of course, if white lets this group die,
I think he must have thought that.
Yeah. Because if white saves these stones but let this group die, it's not a proportional kind of trade. It's just much worse for white, because this is much bigger than this, because this is a corner with some points as well, right? So, but apparently, this is where Iyama found his chance. He's read it through. He's saying that this is not Sente, right? And the position is actually very, very complicated. So I think we do need a proper video to explain this. But anyway, but I think Ichiriki just didn't realize how much this move is actually worth. It turns out that you see this black group here. If this move is actually worth quite a bit, because if white descends, then this black group will have to live. And when it's living, after it's lived, that white can become stronger.
Right.
And for example, like if in this position, if black doesn't play anything, white can just turn here, and that's Sente. Otherwise, black will just die. Right, this move here. So so that means this move can kind of help this group. And if you notice, another thing is now white can actually trade a corner if white can capture these black stones.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So and there is this connection here that's actually not perfect. So then that's exactly what white did. Just so Ichiriki played another move, thinking that this would kill the corner, but Yuta just played here. Now this move actually has connections to what's actually happening here, and this looks like a shape move anyway. So I think it ended up being that it's very complicated, but it ended up being that either white can run out with these white stones, or white can live or start a ko on the inside. So actually, even after spending 2 moves like these two, this group is actually not dead, and white ended up saving this group, which is very valuable. You see here, when white turns, after thinking for quite a bit, Ichiriki decides to connect back, because this move is actually sente, because white descent actually kills black.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's some routes, there's some kind of interesting connection here. Like for example, if black cuts off here, then this white group is not alive. This black group is not alive either. So black's got issues of its own in the shape. So ended up not able to kill white cleanly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to say that there's a few more shocks here. Wait, can you just go back a couple of moves?
Yeah.
So you can see there's a ko in the corner.
Yeah.
Now the next move here.
Yeah.
This is clearly a ko threat to attack the top right.
Yeah.
The AI says.
Yeah.
Ignore it.
Yeah.
Because you get more points from capturing the corner.
Yeah.
In the trade, it apparently it says that if black takes the ko, then it's a half-point game.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
But Ichiriki responded to the ko threat.
Yeah.
And so, it was still in white's favor. Now, if you go across a few more moves, here, this ko threat.
Yeah.
Yep. Again. It's because it's the same corner, right?
Yeah.
Again, the AI says, ignore it. Forget about that corner.
Yeah.
Just take the ko. Ichiriki doesn't take the ko.
Yeah. Now, I think I analyzed with AI. I think one of the reasons is because, as I mentioned, this black group is actually not alive. So if you take the ko and white is safe enough, white can actually cut here. Right. Imagine if white cut here, this black group would be either in trouble or something happens. So, and this group happens to be not as.
But the problem is, but surely, I mean, once black takes the ko, white needs to make one more move to kill the top right group.
Yeah.
And then doesn't black have sente then?
I can't remember what it was. So.
I'm not sure.
No. So if black doesn't save here, white takes. White. Was it black? Black takes, right?
Yeah.
Black takes. That would kill this group, eliminating the threat that white can cut here, right? So this corner is probably more valuable than this corner.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah. There was one more ko threat that black could have ignored.
Yeah, this one, because it's about the same corner.
No, there's a third one though.
Yeah, I think.
It's move 212.
212. Okay, let's see. I do remember seeing something like that. So.
Yeah.
This one. Yes.
No, 2 more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here.
Yeah.
So, the AI says black can either capture the ko. Yeah. Obviously, that's going to be very complicated.
Yeah.
And white's ahead by a bit. But even better, black can capture the 4 stones in Atari on the right.
Black can... Yeah, these ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's like a 1.5 point game or something like that.
And I think this is the point where it kind of gets too complicated. Like it's like
it's clearly very complicated. But this was Ichiriki's last chance. They were both. I think they were both in Byoyomi at this point.
I think I analyzed this position why black taking is actually a good idea. After you take, apparently black is this group is not necessarily just dead yet. It's still got some RG in it. After you take, if you can imagine black Ataris again at S13, apparently the Atari at S13 is Sente. If not, then black can subsequently play at T14, forcing white to... You see this black group, even though it's captured, it's still got 3 liberties. If you take it there, it forces white to capture these stones, which means that white will spend quite a few moves, like 3 moves to do it. So this move is actually more valuable than just taking these things, because this Atari is Sente, so this group is also dead. So there's actually a lot of benefit, and also there's some RG here, so this black group is not completely dead. So Ichiriki lost another chance, but to me that feels just really complicated, and they might all be in Byoyomi by then. It's a very complicated situation. Like I analyzed it with AI. It took me a long time to figure out why some things is more beneficial, and to count all of that, I'm just not sure how easy it is even for pros. So it's a very complicated situation by the end. But anyway, ended up being that Ichiriki didn't quite make the right kind of decisions, and after this point, it just thought that this code is just too difficult to fight. Because even if black takes here, I think white can just play here. Black will still have the code, so it's ends up being too tough. So I think that's where Ichiriki resigned. So it's still a very entertaining game to analyze. And
it was a worthy game. It was a worthy Honinbo game. Not as epic as game 1, but still it wasn't too disappointing.
Yeah. So Iyama ended up winning.
It was definitely a missed opportunity for Ichiriki here.
Yeah. Again, this is fairly big reversal, as we mentioned. And so Iyama won this game. So now Iyama is leading the series 2-0. This is a best of 7. So Iyama only needs to win 2 more, and Ichiriki needs to win 4 more.
And when is game 3? It's soon, isn't it?
Maybe next week.
Because I thought it was during the it's actually the 1st and 2nd of June. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be during the LG Cup.
It overlaps with the round of 16 of the LG Cup. So
right.
So we'll have to cover that game at the next podcast.
Yes, we'll have to. But just because their ratings points are not that far apart, with a 2-0 advantage to Iyama in a best of 7.
Oh, I mean, you can't write Ichiriki off just yet, but he has to win game 3.
Yes. But it's gonna be. I mean, it's a bit stacked against Ichiriki at the moment, but so that's gonna happen. So let's quickly wrap up the week with a look at the calendar.
So there were other games. There were other games that happened this week, but we may have to look at them. Briefly next week or something like that.
Yeah.
But the following week's calendar. I mean, the big thing is the LG Cup.
Yeah, the LG Cup, and also the Hoban Cup. One more game.
There's one more game of the Hoban Cup tomorrow. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, and of course the start of the LG Cup is Sunday, and it's LG Cup, and then Honinbo game 3 on Wednesday and Thursday, and Korea's strongest. The third Korea's strongest final game.
Title match.
Shin Jin-so versus Shin Min-jun.
Yes.
And also rounds off another week would be GX Caltex Cup, a round of 16. So that's when the seeds come in, round of 16. So that will be hopefully, I can't remember who's playing who, but it will be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wrap. Thanks, Gaza.
Thank you.
Yep. Talk to you next time.
Okay. See ya.
Yeah, bye.